Welcome back to Dom's Corner, everybody. I'm your host, Dom Martino, and sitting here with me today is Mr. Ian Schick. We haven't had him in a minute. Ian, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing much better now that I'm not dying.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear, man. I'm glad you got over all that, and yeah, man, it's been an interesting time to live in, everybody. That's for sure.
How have you been, Dom?
I'm surviving.
It's been like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It feels like it's been a year since we talked.
Overall, I'm good. I had a good holiday. How was your holiday?
I was sick.
Yeah.
It was great. Loved it.
All right.
I played video games the whole time.
Yeah,
primarily, what was it? Warframe, and then I got Doom Eternal.
Yeah. I probably would have done the same thing in your shoes, just turn on the Xbox, watch some movies, so, all that kind of shit. So
It's pretty much. I started Westworld as well.
Oh, the HBO show.
Yes.
Okay, I need to watch that. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's one I haven't gotten into.
I finished season 1. I started season 2. I was, so far I can tell you I'm more about season 1.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously very interested in the Western sci-fi mixture of that series, and it's something I want to dive into, and I'm also very interested in Aaron Paul in the 3rd season. So
Would you like a quick review?
I mean, you could
spoiler free.
You can give me something here, and hey, real quick, let me interject you real quick,
okay,
guys. If you like the content here, please hit the like button below, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comments section, and share this with your friends. And if you don't like the content here, well, we have a maniac in the White House with nuclear codes, so we're probably going to be bombed here any minute anyway. So, anyway, Ian, go ahead. What's your what were you saying about Westworld? I'm sorry.
I did not expect that from you. I love that. Anyway, so Westworld, there's a lot of twists. I'll say that much. So far from watching it, a lot of twists, and either those twists will blow your mind. Like, you ever see that emoji of the mind blown thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait.
That's
So how far did you get exactly?
I'm in season 2, episode 4.
Yeah, wow. Is season 1 hard to get through? Because some people say
no.
You don't think so? You disagree with that?
I think season 1 is incredibly easy to get through.
Okay, then I'm gonna check it out.
It's season 2 I'm having a hard time getting through myself.
Interesting. Okay, see, I hear 1 is like better than 2, but both 1 and 2 are hard to get through, and then 3 is like amazing, supposedly.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting to 3.
That's the overall consensus that I've heard.
I'm kind of watching with a friend, so
okay.
we got in a little spat, so I was like being petty and started watching ahead of him.
I see.
But I believe him and I should be on the same episodes now.
Yeah.
So as soon as he and I are able to get our time frame right, I'm gonna start watching with him again.
I see. Yeah. I mean, I need to get into it.
Speaking of, if you ever want to do that, we can do that sometime.
Okay. I'll let you know. I would love that.
Cool.
So I want to say this, and again, this is probably going to be another unexpected thing for me, but I do come onto the show today with a heavy heart. I don't get political necessarily on the show, and I know I'm lagging right now. Sorry about that, guys. I'll try to get rid of that. I still plan to not get political. I'm not going to share my political beliefs. That's for me, myself, and I, and people I want to share that with. But what happened here really recently, to me, goes beyond politics, and that is it's an act of terrorism on the country. And the reason I'm going to say what I'm going to say is because this is my platform, and you guys come here to hear my opinions, and hopefully everybody else I have on. And if you didn't want to hear my opinions, then you wouldn't be here. And I know that we're used to talking about entertainment news, but what happened is such an elephant in the room that I would feel, it would feel weird for me, not as an American, not to say anything here. And it's not an attention thing. It's just that, I do want to share my thoughts, and it's going to be hard for me to move on if I don't use my platform for what it's meant for me, which is to be a little bit therapeutic. And I gotta say, I found what happened to be incredibly disgusting. I was extremely disturbed by it. it woke me up throughout the night. I actually am somebody who suffers from anxiety, and just knowing that we had somebody in the White House who committed
Condoned it.
treason, committed
He condoned
treason,
that.
committed treason, and incited the violence. It was very disturbing for me. Um, we're gonna continue on the show and just talk about the things that we like to talk about. So so that anybody else who relates and is disturbed can hopefully get away from that, and we can hopefully put a smile on your faces and what's an extremely dark time. Again, not going to share my political reviews. That's not why I'm bringing it up. It's just my political reviews. My political views is not why I'm bringing it up.
Do you mind
It's
if I add to this in a minute?
I was going to give you a final word for you
Okay.
before we
Okay,
moved
cool.
on, but
Continue. I'm sorry.
you're okay. I This is not okay, and I hope that anybody who saw otherwise. I'm not going to be that guy that's like, oh, you believed this at one point in time, or you voted this way, so you're a bad person. No, I'm gonna say I hope you learned. I hope that you saw what is actually going on once and for all, and I hope we can move on and all get along in a peaceful manner. Thank you for indulging me for a minute. I just had to get this off my chest. And yeah, let's have a fun show. But Ian, did you have you had something to add to this?
I do, and I mean, what I say, don't let it affect Dom if it will. Let it affect me because this is nothing about
Well, real
Dom's
quick,
opinion.
again, I think that what happened went beyond politics. So as long as it's in the
I do as
confines
well.
of that, it doesn't affect me at all, man. Go ahead and say what you need to say.
One thing that's bothered me is I see people comparing this to the events that had happened earlier this year, and I don't think it's necessarily the same. Um, because one event was about fighting for the rights of individuals that feel their rights have been impeded upon, which I honestly, having grown up in those cultures, mixed in with those cultures myself, not growing up in that culture myself, growing up mixed within those cultures myself, family with those backgrounds, friends, very very good family friends, people I consider family myself within those backgrounds. I stand with what they were doing. I don't stand with the destruction. That's just me. Now I feel like the difference between what was going on with the events of BLM's protests and the events of this act of terrorism, and yes, I do believe it is an act of terrorism, is that one was about the rights of humans. One was about human rights, basic human rights, and then the other was about somebody who has been idolized. And I'm sorry, but you're all lunatics if you've idolized him. You are. I'm not saying you can't like him, but if you idolize him, that's where the issue starts. You don't idolize anybody. That's the start of communism. That's how we have started. That's how countries like Russia were taken over and demolished. That's pretty much how North Korea was taken over and demolished. So yes, I want to say that at this point, I hope that everybody has been able to learn from the situation, and I want so desperately for people to stop comparing the events of earlier this year, earlier 2020 to this point as much as they have. There are some comparisons, but it's different situations. And I do agree with Tom. I hope that people who have voted the way they voted, I hope they've learned. I hope they stop idolizing these people. They're human beings as well. We're all human beings. We're flawed. That is okay, but we're human beings. Even the president. And I think that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Again, anything that I've said, if it's offended you, don't let that affect Dom. Dom's doing. Let's point over here. Dom's doing a fantastic thing. Dom's channel is amazing. I'm glad to be a part of it, and if it's going to ruin it for him, I mean, I will gladly step down, um, because I don't want it to ruin it for him.
I actually endorse your statement, so I will second you. Yeah, guys, last thing, and we'll move on. What happened yesterday? I agree with Ian 100%. Was an act of terrorism. It was not a riot. This is an act of terrorism. This is domestic terrorism. These people were domestic terrorists. Lives were lost, and it came from the top. And I want you guys to realize that I'm not telling you that you should be thrilled about, I'll just say it, Joe Biden winning the election. I'm asking you to be grateful that Trump lost now that you see the effect that he's had on America. But
If it
thank you.
makes anybody feel better, I'm not happy either one. I mean, that's just me. But I also want to state one last thing. I don't think that anybody during the acts of BLM or the acts of this terrorist act, nobody should have been hurt. Nobody's life should have been lost. And I just want to point out that, had the shoe been on the other foot and people from BLM stormed, uh, I can't think of the word right now, the Capitol,
Yeah,
the Capitol
yeah,
building,
yeah.
it things would have been massively different. I truly believe that. Um, so I'm glad nobody lost their lives. Um, and I hope that nothing like this happens again. I really sincerely hope nothing like this happens again.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate your statements and I endorse it all. Listen, man. Listen, guys. Thank you for sticking with us through that moment of the show. We're gonna talk about fun things, hopefully. I mean, it's we realize that these things are finite compared to what happened, but hopefully we're here to continue to put smiles on your faces and give you guys a good time. All right, so I actually want to get into this with you. This isn't um, necessarily a fun thing, but it is a discussion that I think we need to have because we haven't been able to talk about this yet. Um, so, did you hear about this Star Wars theory incident?
No, I've not. I'm
Okay.
not gonna lie. I've been kind of like, I don't want to say off the grid because that just sounds edgy, but pretty much off the grid.
No, it's okay. I just was wondering because I didn't want to obviously give you information you didn't already know, but or you already knew, but I
I
do want to
mean,
give you information you don't
have
know.
we
But
talked about it on the show at all? Like, has anybody
no,
talked about
this
it?
is a completely new
Then
thing. I mean,
then blow it all out.
all
Let's hear it.
right. So here's what's happening, or happened, and it might sound like old news to some of you people, but the reason I'm bringing this back up is because Ian and I haven't discussed it, and I actually respect Ian's opinion, and I want to know what he thinks about this, and especially
I've been dying.
us as us as two people who are on YouTube. This actually relates to us in a very big way,
Oh, does
and
it?
so I mean, okay, so Star Wars Theory is a YouTuber that I've been following for actually since almost the beginning of his career, if not the beginning. I actually think I've been watching him in and out at least since his first ever video, which he made a theory about Palpatine a long time ago, and actually kind of came true, I believe. That Palpatine was going to show up in this. But
Hold on. Is this the same dude who theorized about Mace Windu
yeah.
being Snoke? Okay, I've watched
No,
his
no,
videos
no, no,
before.
no, no, no,
Oh,
no, no.
oh.
Sorry, not being Snoke. I'm sorry. You said Mace Windu, and I was like, he's a huge fan of Mace, and he makes a lot of theories, but I don't think he did the Snoke one, to my
Send me
knowledge.
a send me a link of his, and maybe it'll probably strike up some memories for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. And I want everybody to know that I am actually going to make this topic the thumbnail on the video because I think it's important to be spoken about as a YouTuber. But I'm not doing that for click reasons, if that makes sense. I don't want this to become a channel where we just talk about other YouTubers, but I just found this one to be so significant and important that that's why I'm doing that. But anyway, we so this guy, I mean, again, I think that he's been doing really good work. I actually strongly disagree with a lot of his opinions. Obviously he's not been very nice to the sequels, but he's been a lot more respectable in his reviews of them than most people. So I respect him for that. And I also think that he actually, he's one of these guys that never really stopped making theories for fun. You know what I mean? A lot of people are like making theories to like shit on something in Star Wars, and this guy just still, regardless of how he's feeling about the current movies at the time, he just makes fun videos and still wants to have fun with Star Wars, and I respect that genuinely about him, and he is a
I can respect that.
genuine Star Wars fan. And this is why this story is such a shame that I'm about to, drop on you here, is because he's one of the few YouTubers that, despite the fact that he might not like the sequels or a lot of the stuff that Disney has done, he's not one of, he doesn't get his clicks off of shitting on him. You know what I mean? He gets his clicks off of being a genuine Star Wars fan and continuing to be excited for the future. And
building up the fan base, essentially.
yeah, and being very good to his fans, by the way. You see him in the street, he's one of these guys that will stop and say hello and talk to you about Star Wars, and he's a wonderful, wonderful human being. And
That's amazing.
I this is why I find this to be such a shame. He is a guy who made his own Star Wars film.
Please tell me Disney didn't shit on him.
Well, hold on. Not necessarily. Okay. No, not necessarily, but I will tell you what happened. He's a man who made his own Star Wars short film, which is incredible, by the way. He put $50,000 of his own money into making this. That is a lot of money, folks. And
that's a lot of money.
Yeah, and it looks like even though it's a 15-minute Vader film, it looks like a high-quality Star Wars movie. And because he actually put a lot of time, effort into it. And, he put it up not really knowing the rules and everything. But, at first it was monetized, and Disney was like, well, you can't really make money off of that. And he was like, actually, you know what? That's understandable. I will demonetize it. But then there were copyright claims being put on his video. There was a lot of talk of Disney didn't really want a lot to do with them. There's been a lot of talk about how Disney was upset that fans were really responding to his movie when they weren't responding to the Disney films, which my opinion was like, okay, then if you think he's got creative talent, maybe you should
bring him on.
Look into hiring him. That's always been my opinion, but he's made it clear that Disney doesn't really seem to really care about him and have interest in that, but he still is going to support their brand and love Star Wars the way, you know what I mean, that he has, and he's done that. But that's not the story I want to talk about, because the Vader fan film happened a long time ago. Now, he's been very high, as most of us Star Wars fans have been, on The Mandalorian. He watched this season finale, and I actually watched, I didn't watch it live with him, but I did watch his live reaction. I know that he does these every morning live, or mornings for me, midnight for him, but he does these like every morning live. He reacts to all the episodes, and the season finale was no exception to this. Well, Luke Skywalker comes on, and it, it affected him in an emotional way. And I want to point out again, he watches these when they air, so it's not like he plans a reaction to these. So let me start by saying that he does watch these live when the moment they air is when he starts watching them.
But, so there's no way he could even plan a reaction.
Yes, thank you. That is my exact point here, and I want to make sure that that's clear. He cried quite a bit when Luke came on the screen, and because it affected him as it did a lot of other Star Wars fans who reacted to the episode. And again, I've said this dude is a genuine dude. I disagree with his opinions a lot, very strongly, but he is a genuine Star Wars fan, and that's less than you can say about a lot of Star Wars YouTubers. They like to get clicks off drama. Well,
bad clout's always good clout.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Exactly, man.
We were just talking about that.
Yes, we were. We
won't get into that topic. Let's go on.
Disney, Lucasfilm, leader of their story group is Pablo Hidalgo. I think we may have brought him up a couple times on the show. Pablo Hidalgo's caused some trouble on Twitter over the years with fans. Fans have not enjoyed the way that he's responded. And this is why it upsets me, is because for years I have said, well, the reason that Pablo Hidalgo is upset with a lot of fans on Twitter is because, he put a lot of work into the sequel trilogy, or into helping, come up with those. He obviously backs those stories, and fans have a misunderstanding of them. And I can understand why Pablo Hidalgo has been upset with a lot of Star Wars fans over that. But Pablo Hidalgo is the leader of the story group. And by the way, for anybody who doesn't understand how this business works, the leader of the story group, essentially what he is he is the walking encyclopedia. So basically, he puts canon together. So he basically runs that spot, so nothing contradicts the other thing. He has to read over everything and make sure that there's not a lot of over contradictions in canon when it comes to Star Wars. So he is the walking Star Wars encyclopedia. Um. Anyway, so Star Wars Theory screenshots his reaction, and I'll say there's a couple little more details, but I'll basically say the basics of what happened is Pablo Hidalgo responded to the tweet of his reaction to Luke. It was I think he took it down, I'm pretty sure, and then Star Wars Theory said, "Hey, I saw Pablo Hidalgo from Lucasfilm responded to my reaction. What did he say?" So did anybody get a screenshot of it before he took it down? Well, somebody did. They sent it over to Star Wars Theory, and Pablo Hidalgo had responded to the reaction saying, "Emotions are not for sharing." Um, so I have a couple thoughts about that, but it doesn't end there. This is the even bigger
Whoa,
problem.
whoa,
It doesn't
hold
even
the
end
fucking
there. Hold on, guys. Sorry, it doesn't end there. Um, After Star Wars Theory makes a statement about how he felt about Pablo Hidalgo's thoughts, and Star Wars Theory was very generous. I want to add that in his statement that he was very generous to his response to Pablo Hidalgo, just basically saying that it's not really okay to bully fans. Pablo Hidalgo took that screenshot of his response and he made it his header on Twitter. Emotions are not for sharing. Um, then he came out with a response that was complete bullshit. Or, I'm sorry, not a response, an apology that was complete bullshit 24 hours later, saying that, it
something
was.
Disney PR was HR was like, yo, hey, no, no
Yeah,
SPR.
and it was basically, oh, this was a self mockery. It wasn't even an apology. It was just him saying, I just want everybody to understand that it was self mockery. I didn't mean anything bad by that. Listen, this is not okay. I understand Pablo Hidalgo is the walking encyclopedia and he's kept canon together for a long time now, but this is not okay. Um,
I can't. I'm not. I'm going to say this right now. I'm sorry. I have to interject, but I
I
can't
wanted
support
you
a
to.
man. I can't. I cannot fucking support a man. No, I really cannot. I cannot support a fucking human being who's just like shitting on somebody for getting emotionally attached to something that you've helped create.
Yeah,
You've made this story. Look, there's okay, so being the gamer that I am, whenever fucking Kingdom Hearts was made so that you're emotionally connected to these characters. Whenever you play through Call of Duty, I fucking hate Call of Duty, but whenever you play through Call of Duty story missions, you're made to be emotionally attached to these characters,
yeah,
whether it's with a short amount of time or not. The idea is to be emotionally connected to these characters, so that way they have they feel connected to that world. These characters are there so that you can be in the world too. How are you going to tell somebody,
yeah. Not okay.
especially in 2020 fucking one?
Yeah.
My bad.
I,
2020, but
I was gonna say it
2021.
happened in 2020. We just haven't talked in a while.
I know, but still, we're in an age where everybody's fucking emotional. I'm sorry, we all are. I'm gonna say this right now. I cry like a bitch all the time. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. We do. We're humans. But to tell somebody that emotions aren't for sharing, that honestly really pisses me off.
Yeah.
Coming from look, in a professional workplace, I can understand that statement slightly, but here's the problem with that even. How are you going to get sincere work out of somebody if they're not being emotional about their work?
Right.
Emotions aren't for sharing? Well, Pablo, take yourself off this fucking project then. because at
Yeah.
that point you've shared all your emotions with this project. Just saying, that was a stupid fucking statement.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That grinds my fucking gears. That
It,
really that digs deep. I hate that.
and I want to say too, and it upsets me more because I've anytime anybody shit on Pablo Hidalgo unfairly, I have come to defend Pablo Hidalgo on it every single time. And I've always been in his defense on it. And I've always said, guys, I don't think he's that bad of a dude. And he basically
Well, hold on.
made me
I
regret
will
that.
say unfair reviews are still unfair.
Yeah.
I'll say that. It's still unjust shit. If you unfairly shit on somebody, then just keep your opinion to yourself. That's how I kind of feel. Now if you fairly do it, then I think you're in the right. So I mean, if you come and defended somebody because they were unfairly shit on, I feel like you're still okay with that.
Yeah, but
I
to
just want
take
to point that out.
but to take the people that have defended you for so many years when people accused him of being a bully, which I still don't believe in a lot of the past times that he was being a bully to people on Twitter, but to take those people that defended him and then make a mockery of him is ridiculous. And this is a brand he works for and has worked for a long time. And his literal job, the one thing he gets paid to do, is to be a Star Wars fan. And he cannot come to relate to one of the top tier Star Wars fans out there. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I mean, it's just a fact. Star Wars Theory, when it comes to Star Wars channels, he has the biggest one right now. And that's just a fact. I'm not trying to piss anybody off, like, who also runs Star Wars channels. It's just a fact. He's bigger than you are. And, like, but he's been genuine. And
Bad
like,
news bears, buddy.
and to take, and so to be in the same profession, and this baffles me, this behavior. This baffles me. And I cannot believe.
It sincerely pisses me the fuck off. I'm not gonna lie to you.
And listen, I'm still going to support the Star Wars. I'm still going to support Lucasfilm. And I was very happy to hear that they did reach out to Star Wars Theory. People above Pablo Hidalgo's pay grade reached out to Star Wars Theory to try to straighten the misunderstanding. He didn't contact them, and I don't blame him because he's just over it. Not Star Wars, but he's over this whole situation. He just wants to move on. I don't blame him for that.
I don't either.
But it's good to know that people above Pablo Hidalgo's pay grade had the decency to try to contact Star Wars Theory and reconcile
Because
it.
we know Pablo Hidalgo, or whatever the fuck his name is obviously a piece of shit. I'm sorry, Pablo, you've labeled yourself a piece of shit in my book.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are going to demand that he gets fired or demands that. I think he needs to be held accountable for sure.
I think the true punishment here should be that Pablo gets fired and then Star Wars Theories gets his place. Just saying.
It wouldn't be a bad idea. Listen, and I understand it's a hard position to replace because he has to be the walking encyclopedia.
You have Star Wars Theory.
It's more difficult than a lot of other positions. I'm just saying.
No, I get that. 100%.
I'm just saying that
you have to remember every detail.
And also the fact that, Pablo was, in there when George was running. But it's just, what were you thinking, man? You can't take it and put it on your header on Twitter. Like, it's one thing to say it and then apologize.
That was childish.
But to put it as his header on his Twitter page? What
no,
the
that was
fuck?
That was pure alpha Chad bully moves right there, bro. In my opinion. And as we've stated before, Star Wars is there to help people who've been bullied.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, exactly. Thank you for stating that, because I think that this goes against everything that the brand he works for stands for.
Even Disney makes statements about bullies.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Even though Disney, I'm sorry, Disney, I'm going to call you out here, but you're kind of a bully yourself. I mean,
sometimes.
Yes. Buying out every single company there is. Anyway, but I mean, even Disney.
It's all a machine partner.
It's all part of Monopoly. I mean, yeah, my bad.
It baffles me, man. And you see people like Pablo Hidalgo, who, and I watch him in interviews. I've seen him in interviews, and he's so genuine. It seems genuine, and he's always like, "Yeah, he seems like a guy who gets Star Wars." But at the end of the day, man, this was. I don't know how this happens. I don't know how somebody. Oh my god. you have, when you're in a position as high as Pablo Hidalgo at Lucasfilm, you're supposed to have PR people. You're supposed to have people that tell you not to send these types of tweets. I know that not everything's controllable, but it's just I don't get it. Can you make sense of this at all for me, Ian? Because I don't understand it.
I can. Unfortunately, people like Pablo Hidalgo don't have these PR assistants on their ass 24/7,
Must not.
or else people like
Well, he's
are
gonna now.
yeah, no, he's unless he gets fired, then they won't give a shit. And replaced by Star Wars Theory because that's what needs to happen at this point. Yeah, I'm supporting you, Star Wars Theory. I think you need Pablo's job at this point. I'm just saying that.
I don't even think he'd want
it.
I don't even think he'd want it. I gotta.
If
be
he doesn't
honest
want
with
it,
you.
that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. He doesn't have to want it. You're getting it. It's fucking your job now. No, unfortunately, people like
you're
Pablo
gonna be rich
Hidalgo,
now. Deal with it.
yeah, you're gonna get paid to love Star Wars. If you don't love that, then go fuck yourself. You're doing it anyway. Unfortunately, people like Pablo Hidalgo, who have these high places that they can reach from, don't have people who can watch what they're high places, and then they gain arrogance. That's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
High places and they gain arrogance. People like our now previous president. Sorry, I'm dropping that now because let's be honest, his tweets in the past were awfully arrogant as well. And I mean, like you can drop any of Obama's tweets, any of the past presidents' tweets. It's fine. I don't care if they're arrogant. They're arrogant, and that's that's my point I'm trying to make here is that people in high places they gain arrogance sometimes, and then they make arrogant mistakes. Even I make arrogant mistakes.
Yeah,
we're human, but the problem is that you have to dictate, and Pablo wasn't able to, what is a good human decent thing to do and what is a bad thing to do.
Yeah.
And Pablo is just like, here's my big fucking dick. And that's the big problem, Pablo.
Yeah.
Honestly, look, I know nothing about you until today, and that right there was enough to tell me that you, sir, are a bully, and I don't stand with you working for Star Wars. Like, continue to support Star Wars, yes. But I'm joining this bandwagon of I demand he be replaced.
Yes, I do too. And you know me, I typically am not like, fire him. But this case, this is a big exception to this. And I'm not going to be like, fire him. I'm saying hold this man extremely accountable.
Yeah.
That's where
hold him accountable like we held fucking Johnny Depp accountable.
Yeah.
Even though Johnny Depp didn't deserve to be held accountable.
Yeah, I agree with you too there. Yeah, guys, this is insane. I want to know what everybody else thinks of this in the comments. I'm sure. And by the way, don't be a fucking hypocrite either. Like, don't be somebody who's gone around bullying people and then bullying Star Wars fans, because I've seen a lot of that. I've seen a lot of people who have also bullied a lot of Star Wars fans coming now to Star Wars Theory's defense on being bullied, and it's just like, okay, guys, you're doing this to get clicks. You're doing this to get clicks.
Stop the fucking cycle. Stop being a fucking bully, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. Again, Star Wars was essentially there. No, it probably wasn't actually made to help people who've been bullied and shit. It probably wasn't the main intent, but that's what the staple became, is that Star Wars was there for people who were bullied. Stop being a fucking hypocrite. Stop being a fucking asshole.
Yeah. This needs to stop, this drama. And you know what the other problem with this is like, this is making massive news to the point where who plays Cara Dune? Gina Carano has come to Star Wars Theory's defense. Mark Hamill has now subtly, like he would, come to Star Wars Theory's defense on this. And it's like, at this point,
Mark Hamill just came out and said, this is the way.
He didn't do that.
I know.
He actually posted a picture of the moment from it, and he had a tweet. I'd have to reread it, but you could tell it wasn't defense of this because it was the timing of it. But anyway, my point is, guys, it's like we were in a great place with Star Wars, and anything like this can cause some turbulence. So I don't want to see this anymore. Everybody, just calm the fuck down. Pablo Hidalgo, you're the big source of it right now. So Don't
Pablo
do this.
Hidalgo, I demand that you fight me to the death in defense of Star Wars theory.
With
I don't
the
even watch Star Wars
lightsaber.
theory.
With the Luke Skywalker replica
Hold on
lightsaber.
a second. Hold the fucking phone.
Do you have a replica? Oh, you have that plastic thingy. But, where'd it go? He don't even have it. He don't know where it's at.
Ah!
He found it, I think.
Pablo Hidalgo, I demand that you go buy a lightsaber that was made in 2005 and fucking fight me to the death right now.
Oh, boy.
Fly
Listen,
me
guys.
out there because I can't afford that flight.
Listen, guys, got other topics to get to. So, yeah, let us know what you thought of this. This is just disappointing stuff, and yeah, let's talk about the good end of Star Wars though for a minute. I actually wanted to show you. I did pick up the first 2 books for the High Republic that dropped the other day. We have Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule. Charles Soule's done a lot of the comic book stuff. He's been really good in that department. For the most part, there's been a couple wonky ones, but so I'm very excited to read this, going into a whole new era of Star Wars. And I actually no, I'll to be honest, I read the first 2 chapters, and I could tell it's going to be a page turner. So really can't wait to read it. And also, we had the second one that is called A Test of Courage. This one was written by Justina Ireland. She did that Resistance Rising book last year that was really, really great. So, yeah, I'm excited to dive into those. And this all these books are going to be, crossed between different platforms, taking place, I think, 300 years before Phantom Menace. And then it's all going to culminate into the Acolyte TV series. Ian, are you going to read any of these?
What's reading?
There's a really, actually, you know what? There is a really cool launch trailer that you should see, though, that they put out for this. It was like a minute and a half long, and you should check it out. It's really appealing. I can't wait to actually dive into it. And yeah, they actually, you know what? I forgot to mention it only because I didn't actually pick this one up. There is. So January 5th is when they released the first 3 books, actually. I only had the first 2 there. The third
You
book,
son of a bitch.
third book being written by Kevin Scott. I can't remember the name of it right now. Actually, it is a children's picture book, so you should pick that one up, if anything.
Yay!
So it's pictures with some words, I think, but you'll yeah, it's no.
Okay,
and so
I'm done.
You're fine. But the first 3 are out right now. They came out on January 5th. I mean, it's exciting. I definitely want to hear a lot of people's opinions about diving into this whole new era. I think it's very exciting. There's really not a lot of connections except a younger Yoda in there. I mean, so it's really gonna be it's kind of what I've always wanted. And I mean, I'm excited for book 4 coming out on February 5th, written by my favorite Star Wars author, Claudia Gray. So I wanted to kind of throw out my excitement there for this. But yeah, go ahead.
Dom, you want to know what I'm not excited for?
What?
Pablo Hidalgo to keep working on Star Wars.
All right, so let's move on from.
You've set a vendetta for me. You've set a deep vendetta for me. You know who's a great person?
Who?
Star Wars Theory.
You haven't even seen his videos.
I don't even give a shit. He's a great person.
You actually, I'm gonna send you that Vader fan film. I want you to watch it.
I would love.
Good.
I would love to watch that.
Yeah, he's working on, well, not now because of the pandemic's kind of delayed it, but as soon as the pandemic's over, I think he plans on working on the second Vader fan film, and I'm pretty stoked for that.
Well, I hope fans love it so much that they fire Pablo. What is his name? Pablo Hupuplo. That's his new name.
Yeah. And one other thing, too, last thing in the Star Wars world is there's been a lot of speculation lately, a lot of fans calling for something. And, well, let me start with this. And I actually heard this from a couple different people. And one of these people are the same person that told me Thrawn was going to be in that Ahsoka episode, or mentioned in that Ahsoka episode. And I'm not saying that this is completely true, guys. But this is kind of what I've heard is like all these different TV shows and things like that are coming out. Obviously we know that they're all going to be very connected to each other. And one of the things that I've actually heard is what Disney is trying to do, and you guys might have heard other people report on this, is that they're basically going to uh, make Thrawn kind of like their version of Thanos, being the big bad of that kind of hovers over all this story here that it's eventually going to be leading to. And a lot of fans have actually called for something that I've never thought of, and that is to have Robert Downey Jr. play Thrawn.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Yes.
he has the gravitas. I think say what you will about the Sherlock Holmes movies, but he can seamlessly get a British accent on and really go into those levels that he needs to play the character. So, do you like this
Yeah.
casting, or do you prefer somebody else?
You ever watch that video of the kid hitting himself with a fucking basketball?
No.
Oh, well, he literally just goes, yes! And that's how I feel right now.
uh, no, I haven't seen that, but
I'm
yeah, man.
surprised you haven't. It was like viral as hell.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about who the hell's gonna play Thrawn. I've heard the rumors that they're gonna get Lars Mikkelsen from the animated show to do it, which I'd be perfectly okay with as well.
I would
He
as well.
voiced the character amazingly. I've thought of Michael Fassbender. Yeah, man. I mean, but Robert Downey Jr. is
You
one
know,
interesting pick I hadn't thought of before.
you know who else would be fitting? I can't think of his name right now. He was in Death Stranding. God, what was Mads Mikkelsen.
That's Lars Mikkelsen's his brother. That's who
Oh,
voiced him in
Lars
the
Mikkelsen is
animated.
his brother.
That's who
I
voiced
didn't
him
know
in the
that.
animated series. Yep.
I
Yeah.
Why did I think the name?
And the only problem with that is Mads already played a Star Wars character. He was Galen Erso
That's
in Rogue
true.
One, so that's the only
That's
contradiction
true.
there. Although in the blue makeup, he wouldn't look like Galen Erso, and Lord knows
That's
Mark
also
Mark
true.
Hamill's voiced like 5-6 characters in Star Wars now. John Favreau's voiced a few. You know what I mean? So it's like
Look, I'm gonna tell you something right now. Mark Hamill has voiced way more than 5 or 6.
I don't like to be one of these fans too. By the way, that's demanded things, but the one demand that I'm going to give Lucasfilm is please use makeup for Thrawn. Do not go CGI. Please use makeup on
I
an actor.
I actually agree with that. I have one more. I have one more demand.
Yes.
Um, Fire Pablo Hidalgo.
Okay. All right. So listen, guys, we're gonna move
I'm
into.
done. I'm done. My vendetta is not done, but I'm done
That's fair.
today.
Thank you. All right. So, I think as far as news goes, that was like all the big topics actually, and I know they were all Star Wars related, but shit, that's like very relevant right now. I mean, we could talk about the fact that not Wonder Woman, sorry, WandaVision's been, the first episode's going to be kind of a two-parter thing. I don't know if that means they're releasing both parts on Disney Plus the first day, but who knows? But what we do have for you guys that's not necessarily related to Star Wars. Oh, there is one more Star Wars story I forgot. I'm so sorry. So listen, so this was I wanted to ask, did you watch the Disney Gallery that dropped on Christmas for the behind the scenes band on Mandalorian season 2?
I did not know about it.
Amazing. You got to see it.
You're amazing, Dom.
Thank you. About an
No
hour
problem.
long. Really shows a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Great to see George Lucas on the set and everything, and that was pretty cool. The one thing though I wanted to bring up, and I haven't seen his latest movie that dropped on Netflix, Robert Rodriguez's "We Can Be Heroes." I'm actually hearing some okay things, and Netflix already greenlit a sequel for it, so maybe it's worth checking out. Anyway, and Pedro Pascal's in that as well. But I need
I'm
to see
down.
that.
I'm about it.
Do
Hands
you do
down.
you realize Pedro Pascal was in 3 things that dropped on Christmas? The Mandalorian Gallery behind the scenes thing that dropped on Disney Plus on Christmas Day, the We Can Be Heroes movie that dropped on Christmas Day, and Wonder Woman 84 that dropped on Christmas Day.
He was in Wonder Woman.
He's the main villain in Wonder Woman 84. Yeah,
Oh, I love that.
yeah. Oh, I mean I thought his performance was amazing. It's been kind of controversial, but I really enjoyed it in that movie. I mean, it's been very divisive, but anyway, I loved his over the topness in it. I thought it was just perfect for what they were going for. But my reviews on the channel, guys, you can check that out. But listen, so yeah, but the one thing I wanted to tell you that I thought was amazing, and hopefully this inspires you to watch the rest of the little mini doc or whatever. But when they were talking about Robert Rodriguez doing the Boba Fett episode, and I thought it was actually cool that Robert Rodriguez was talking about he's a massive Boba Fett fan. He could not pass up the opportunity to be the guy that directed the episode where Boba came back. You know what I mean, in full form, and he had like this idea of how it would look, but he was like, I don't have like a lot of budget to film an episode on my own, like a fan film. But so what he actually did is he took his like stormtrooper costume, his Boba Fett costume, and he put it into the he put it on his two sons, and he made a little mini film to show Favreau and Filoni to be like and you can see the mini film. They show the footage of it in the doc, and it's pretty cool. And like exactly how he wanted Boba Fett to actually come back, and it's pretty cool how he cut it together and everything. It's low budget, obviously. And then the other part of it was like there's parts where he had to use action figures to kind of film the sequence and stuff. And Filoni was like, I guess Filoni looked at him and was like, he goes, so are those action figures that you used in that? and then Robert Rodriguez was, well, yeah, obviously I only had two sons and not a lot of actors to shoot a little mini thing. And he goes, and Filoni was like, no, you don't understand. That makes it like the coolest little short film ever. Like, so I thought that was awesome. And then yeah.
I want you to know, all you watching, we love Filoni around here.
Yes, we do. We do.
Go on. I'm sorry. I had to make that point.
Absolutely, we do. That's a great point. But the other part was Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni talking about. Jon Favreau was like, they were actually heavily debating in the first episode when Mando hangs the guy from the light post if he should have Mando say McClunky or not in that, like after he shot the guy or whatever. He was just like, yeah, so he's tossing around with Filoni and he's like, should he say McClunky in that moment? And Filoni's like, you want Mando to say McClunky? And Favreau's like, yeah. And he's like, he's just like, yeah, you can't do that. It would be too weird.
You're gonna hate me, McClunky. Yeah.
Oh, do you not know about the McClunky thing?
No, not at all, to be honest with you.
No, that's fine. If you haven't actually watched A New Hope on Disney Plus yet, that would make a lot of sense. So I'll tell you about this. So, and this is really funny, and I'll even tell you my experience with it. I felt like I knew about McClunky before it made big news, because when I got Disney Plus, I got it the day Mandalorian came out, and then right after that episode was over, right after that episode was over, it recommended I start watching New Hope, and I was like, oh yeah, hell yeah. And then I put it on, and I decided to actually watch the whole thing because it was in 4K for the first time. I'm like, well shit, now I got to see the whole thing. And so and so I watched the whole thing, and then it gets around to the Han Solo scene, the Han Solo and Greedo scene where Han shot first. Well, Han did shoot first. I didn't want to put that in quotes. But George changed that scene so many times. You know what I mean? Where at one point it was like the original scene is that Han shot Greedo first. Greedo shot Han first in the second iteration of it. And then George made it look like they shot at the same time in the latest iterations of it. And then this 4K version comes out. And I don't know why. I remember watching it. And you just, right before the shot goes off, you just hear Greedo say, McClunky. And I remember hearing that.
What?
And I'm like, I know exactly. I remember hearing that, and I said, what the fuck? And I rewound it, and I was like,
did this man's just say McClunky?
I was like, that's never been there before. I know this movie so well, and I know that's never been there before.
I know what happened. Video Game Donkey got a hold of the film.
I don't know who that is. I can actually tell you the real story of what happened here in a second.
No, I'm sure. If you ever get the chance, just go watch Video Game Donkey. Yeah. He says a lot of stupid shit.
Yeah.
I love him. Watch him. It's worth. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, so I backed it up again, and again, I saw it, and it just like, I'm telling you, dude, when I backed it up again, and I paid more attention and watched the way that Greedo's, like, snout moved when he did it, like, McClunky. I laughed my fucking ass off. I think I rewound that scene like 15 to 20 times to watch it and keep laughing because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And by the time I was done, I was like, I'm actually okay with this. I get a good laugh out of it at the very least. Well, obviously, I felt like I was one of the first to notice this on the service, but a lot of fans obviously kept noticing it and it made massive news. And apparently, what ended up happening was when George turned over the movies to Disney, that was like the final change he ever made to any of them. He just wanted to throw that in. Nobody really knows why, but that was George's final change to any of these original movies.
What a strange guy. I love George.
Oh,
McClunky.
that was one of the cool things in the Mandalorian doc is he was holding Grogu and somebody they didn't nobody. Oh, I don't know what they do, but it was just somebody from the set was like, "That is your great 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 grandfather." So I thought that was a really funny thing too. Uh,
Um, so from now on, whenever they have Jedi's and shit, like pulling out blades, they just be like McClunky.
it was quite something. I'm serious, man. Pull up that scene on Disney Plus where Han and Greedo are sitting in the cantina and you'll see it, man. It's hysterical. McClunky. Or you can just type in McClunky on YouTube. You'll find the scene. It's not really that hard to track down anymore. But anyway, so yeah. So sorry about all the news, but we are going to move into some of these reviews that we want to bring to you guys today. Um,
Uh, what all do we have planned? Because if anything, if we're gonna do the movie, if you want, I could do that first, just so it's quick and short. The one that you were supposed to watch but you didn't.
oh, right. Sorry. I'm sorry. I was thinking because, yeah, we still got to get to Cobra Kai at the end of this. And
Yeah.
I want to talk into depth on that one, obviously. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I
No,
almost
you're
forgot
okay.
about the Cobra Kai thing. Yeah, so yeah, you're right. So let's I'm gonna start out with this Honest Thief movie because I don't have a whole lot to say about it. And then I'll let you get into Soul, and yeah, and I'll talk about Sound of Metal, and then we can get into Cobra Kai season 3, and we're gonna do
Sounds
that.
good.
Say that for the very end, so we can get into spoilers on the Cobra Kai season 3 for you, and so that way you guys know to tune out once we start talking spoilers on that.
Okay, sorry. I had that question because I we didn't go over like what all we were going over
That's
today.
true. There wasn't a full rundown. I apologize. There was just I
Dude,
wasn't
I'm
quite
going
sure
off.
what we were gonna do today. So
It's all good. I'm going off 4 hours of sleep over the past 2 days,
yeah,
so I feel you.
yeah. I've been exhausted too, my man. But and that was something real quick. Let me throw out this quick statement and say that I'm sorry about the scheduling lately, guys. It's been really wonky and off. We will get back on track. I definitely plan to do that. Um,
Especially now that I'm not dying.
we're not quitting YouTube. It's just that I've been very exhausted. Ian's been very exhausted. I don't know for me if it's been the holidays or just the weird work hours that I've had recently or what it's been. But
So I'll come out and say that I got pretty sick um starting the 24th. It started then, and then it's kind of led until a couple days after the New Year's, and also a mix of holidays. I thought I might have had COVID. Thankfully, I did not. I feared for my brother because my brother is severely asthmatic, and my mom is also getting asthma. So it's like everybody in my family. I've pretty much been on a routine.
yeah,
So,
that
sorry,
yeah, no, it's understandable.
I just want people to know why I haven't been here.
No, we really haven't addressed it, so I appreciate that.
Not a problem.
Yeah, so oh, real quick, I wanted to tell you this too, before we left here today. But I want to. This isn't like a full review of this because I haven't finished it, but I want to recommend because you said you just got HBO. Well, yeah, you know what I mean. Uh, that the flight attendant, dude. This show is really good. I checked this out. I'm like 3 episodes in. I got hooked in the first episode. It didn't really take much. You should check the show out.
Is there a lot of sex?
There's some sex, yeah.
I'm in.
I'll check it out though, dude. I'm serious. Like, this is Kaylee Cuoco from The Big Bang Theory, who I'm actually not a fan of in that show necessarily. I'm not
I'm
really a
just
big
not a
fan of
fan.
that show in
I
general, but
I'm honest review here. I think Big Bang Theory is shit.
I don't necessarily think it's shit. I'm just not
I
like the
do.
biggest fan of it. But my point was, it's her. She stars in it, but she's actually really phenomenal in the show, and I'm glad she got this role because it shows she's got acting chops. So, check this one out. That was my recommendation for you and whoever's watching, who
I'm
has
happy
HBO
for her to
Max.
get off of Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, no, this is like a real big stepping stone. I feel like I was truly impressed with her talent in the show, and I think that she is shown that she's clearly a leading lady. You know what I mean? It's a good series, man. But let me talk about Honest Thief. This is going to be a full review. So, Honest Thief is the new film that I know this is a controversial name. Stars Liam Neeson. um,
Wait,
stars. Huh?
Liam Neeson's controversial name?
Oh, he had that whole thing last year. I think it's been cleared up now, where he didn't really he kind of misspoke, or he said something that people took the wrong way. I don't want to get into it because it was a whole racial thing, and I know everybody's gonna have
Oh,
different opinions on it. But
see, I know nothing about that.
you
Anyway,
you
we'll
can
we'll talk
Google
about it
it, or
later.
I could talk to you about it off air. But I don't want to get into it now.
Off
But
air. We'll do it off
yeah,
air. That's fine. I'm sorry.
it's
We
okay.
haven't talked in so damn long, and I miss you.
I miss you too, sir. All right, so let's talk about Honest Thief. So I am a big fan of Liam Neeson in films. I think he is. Say what you will about him as a person or whatever your opinions you have. I think he's a very
The man
talented.
knows how to act.
He's a very talented actor. He's a very good action star. I typically get pretty stoked when he comes out with an action movie, because I think that he just has done quite a few great ones. I really enjoy him in films. This also stars Jai Courtney. Will you please, real quick for me, Ian, look up who the main girl is in this Honest Thief movie? I can't remember her name. She's a very good actress, and I can't think of it off the top of my head. Jai Courtney. There's this guy from Hamilton in there. Not Lin Manuel Miranda, but he is the one that plays.
Okay,
Yes,
so it's Kate Walsh.
Kate Walsh. She's so talented. She's very good in this movie. I want to make sure I point that out there. I was really happy that she's in this. I think the movie needed more of her. It took her out of the movie for a little bit, for a little longer than I think it needed to, because she was really one of the best parts of this movie. Jai Courtney again is in this, who I think has kind of become Hollywood's red flag, unfortunately,
I'll be right
because
back.
typically when he shows up in a movie, it's like that, you know, that movie's just typically not going to be very good. Here's what I'll say about Honest Thief. There are a lot of things in here that had potential to be great. Again, I thought Kate Walsh's character was good. I thought the chemistry between her and Liam Neeson was incredibly good. I would have liked to expand on that story. The biggest problem that this movie has is it just doesn't really give you a lot of reason to care about these characters. Like, bad things happen to them, but I felt very empty anytime they did, because the movie didn't give me a lot of reason to care again about their relationship, other than that the actors had good chemistry together. But when you don't have when when you make bad things happen to characters who aren't set up for you to care about, I mean, they seriously, you see them get into the relationship. It's very thrown in and thrown together in the beginning, and it's like, okay, now that bad things are happening, why would I care? I mean, I hate when bad things happen to people, but it's just like, it didn't give you a reason to care. Liam
Kind
Neeson.
of, kind of like how we get what was that character from Solo? Right off the bat, we get him, and then he dies right off the bat.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
these people didn't die off the bat, but you know what I mean. And Liam
I
Neeson, of course, is kicking ass. And if you want to go to this movie and watch Liam Neeson kick ass, I support that. I mean, seriously, because he is awesome when he kicks some ass in the movie, and there are some actually very well filmed action moments in the movie. But my biggest problem is there's nothing to preface why Liam Neeson is so good at kicking ass, because like, when you think about something like Taken, we get a backstory for this character. We got no backstory on him here, and I really was a little upset that they just kind of are like, all right, well, he's going to be an action guy. They give you some backstory, don't get me wrong, but nothing to like really make you believe that he can do some of the things that he does in the film. And it just really bothered me the more I thought about it. And yeah, he is a thief, That is kind of the premise, is he's a bank robber and she doesn't really know about it. But the thing is like, I don't know. It was just a real toss up because it gave you no reason to really root for Liam Neeson's character because he's a bank robber. It's like, okay, so how does this make him this highfalutin action guy who can do all these moves? And it really just made no sense at the end of the day. And again, while I think that a lot of the actors had good chemistry together, I just feel like it doesn't matter when your characters aren't good. You know what I mean? And
I
at the
agree.
and even though we had well filmed action, it doesn't matter when the characters aren't good. Jai Courtney, I'm sorry, I like him in some things. I'm one of the few, but I think no surprise to a lot of people, he gave a very bland performance here once again. I had no reason to care about his character. He was or the performance he was given. It was extremely stale, extremely bland. He does that quite a bit. I wish Hollywood would stop trying to make it happen. Not that the man should stop chasing his dreams to be an actor, but he continues to get miscast over and over and over again. I'm not a huge fan of the Suicide Squad, but that was or Suicide Squad, but that was one of the few films that he was actually really great in. And like, yeah, and I think again he continues to give very stale performances because he's miscast in roles. Anyway, guys, that was my review of Honest Thief. What did everybody else think of this? Let me know. Let us know in the comment section down below. Ian, I do not recommend this one for you, sir. But uh,
I'm not big on action anyway, so that's fine.
real waste of time.
Um,
I don't buy that at all. But anyway,
Real quick, sorry about me leaving. I really had to use the restroom
oh no,
out of nowhere. Hit me like a truck.
you are allocated bathroom breaks, so I mean that's completely understandable. I would hope you indulge me if I had to go, but so
No, you have to pee your pants.
yeah, so you're gonna bring a review to us real quick here too, or take all the time you need to talk about it. But Soul, which you were able to watch, I have not had a chance to see this film. I wanted to. It's one of my more anticipated of 2020. Which, by the way, anything we talk about is still considered a 2020 movie. The Academy has said the cutoff point is February, so anything from now till
That's the end
February,
of the fiscal year.
still yes, it's still there's the fiscal year. You're right. But yeah, you watched Soul. I was so thrilled to see it because I loved Onward at the beginning of the year. Pixar rarely ever fails me. But
Onward was fantastic.
yeah, but take it away. Soul, starring Jamie Foxx. What'd you think, man?
Um, so overall, I thought it was a great movie. I don't think it was an amazing movie. I've seen a lot of people say it was amazing, but as with a lot of movies, it's unfortunate that it has some errors. So it has a few flaws. Overall, I love this movie. I think it's a fantastic movie, but really, really digging deep into the story, I feel like there are some errors. Like why did they do this here? That kind of doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
They name dropped a character twice without any real substance behind that character. That's just one example I can think of right now. Again, I'm going off 4 hours of sleep over the past 2 days, but I mean, and like nothing came out of that character. You don't see that character. There's no mention of what happens. But the build up through the story, it's like it has a very fast start, which I can appreciate a fast start.
yeah,
Sometimes I hate fast starts because
yeah,
I want the story to build up on what's going on. It felt like the beginning had this it had this same energy that Digimon had whenever it first started. It's like I don't know if I've ever talked to you about my views on Digimon. I love Digimon, but like my
right,
thing on Digimon is like each character, the moment they're done speaking, it's like they'll finish a sentence and then it's a run-on sentence because the next character adds to that sentence immediately. It's not like there's pauses. It's like Ty, come get this Digimon, and Ty is just instantly like, Ty, come get this Digimon. Okay, I'm on my way to get the Digimon. Okay, well, you make sure that the Digimon's fed. It's run on sentences, and I feel like that's kind of the same energy it had at the beginning of the movie.
yeah,
Which again, I'm cool with it. I don't know how everybody else felt about that. I just felt like the energy was a little bit more fast paced than what I was ready for.
right,
Um, but that being said, I feel like the rest of the movie paces itself very well. I think they were just trying to delve into the deeper part of the movie. Um,
Can I be honest with you? I've
Huh.
actually only ever seen that first little small teaser that they put out for this, like they do with most Pixar movies that don't
Yes,
really give away a lot of the plot. And I purposely have avoided teasers that I do for most Pixar films because I just have that much faith in Pixar. And that's why it was one of my more anticipated, is because Pixar teamed up with Jamie Foxx. So if you could, actually, for my own curiosity, what was exactly the premise of this movie? I know it had something to do with like music and spirits, so it's kind of like similar to Coco, right, in that way. But anyway, what is the exact premise of this?
kinda. Okay, so the exact so whenever you pieced your own premise together, what did you think? Because
I
I
thought of
don't know.
Coco, but like with like jazzier music, maybe, or like more
Okay.
soulful music, I guess. But
Um,
that was my
I
thing.
mean, it's slight spoiler, but not really because we see this guy's soul. Um,
Yeah,
he
that's
he's
in the trailer, right? That's
yeah
even in the little teaser. Hmm.
he's going through essentially, and he passes away suddenly, or
Yeah. Okay.
I'll leave it at that. Anyway, he passes away suddenly. He
Is this
gets
Jamie
knocked.
Foxx's character?
Yes, Jamie
Okay.
Foxx's character. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I can't think of
Just
his
want to
name
make
right now.
sure you're good.
But Jamie Foxx's character just passes away suddenly. You'll see what happens. It's slightly comical. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like they made the concept of death in this movie very open,
Yeah.
and I feel like they touched it very lightly in a good way. I feel
Okay.
like they made it a movie to help kids understand. So I'll say that
Oh,
much right now.
okay. That's very cool.
Slightly understand.
Does music play a big
So
part of it?
yes, music is a
Yeah.
huge part of this movie. It's Pixar, of course. Music is a big part
I
of it.
figured. I want to make sure that I was getting it in my head. Like, I don't
No,
know.
you're right. Music is a big part of it. But premise is he's like, "Yo, I'm not supposed to be here," and they're like, "Oh, cool, whatever." And one character's like, "Yeah, you are. You're going now."
Yeah.
But essentially, you go through the movie, and him and another soul are trying to connect him back to the real into the life,
Yeah.
connect him back to Earth, and it's supposed to be you know what, the moral of this movie I feel like is about conquering fears. It's a
Okay.
big thing, and
Yeah.
then learning to be a good person. So I think that's how I'll touch base on that. I'm trying not to spoil it, and I'm
No, yeah,
tired,
that's why I
so it's
kind of
hard.
laughed because I saw you like almost going into a spoiler maybe, and then you kind of
Yeah,
backtracked
no,
yourself, which I
I
do
was
all the
about
time,
to.
so I
I
understand.
was definitely
Yeah,
about to jump headfirst into it, and once I would have started, I would not have stopped.
yeah. I mean, it's
Um,
Pixar, but how are is it visually good or I mean,
oh,
yeah. I know it's probably a dumb
visually good,
question, but
visually fantastic. So like, I again, there's slight flaws, and I rated this movie to you earlier, and I feel like maybe I need to bump up my rating a little bit now that I'm talking about it
mhm.
again, just a little bit, not a lot,
You don't
but
have to give a numbered rating if you don't need to. Just
no,
yeah.
I'll give it a number rating
Okay.
after this,
All
and
right.
I'll give you whether I think you should watch it or not.
All right.
But overall, I like open. So like we go through the story. The story concludes, and I feel like it concludes very well up until
Mm-hmm.
the very ending of the story. It's very open ended, and like I like open endings. Don't get me wrong. Being an anime person, there's a lot of open endings for anime.
Yeah.
There's only one time where I absolutely hated an anime open-ended story, and that was Orange. Orange was terrible. Don't watch that. I don't suggest it ever. Um, so anyway, back into what I'm saying. So the same type of open ending Orange had is like similar to what this had. It
Okay.
was just way too open.
Got you.
And like I like being able to have things to where I could be like, maybe he's doing this, maybe he's doing this, but it's just like, what's he doing? What's
Yeah.
he gonna do now?
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that takes away from the film way too much.
Got you.
I think this is slight flaws. Overall, I'm very proud of Pixar finally casting a lead black role, um, or a person of color in general. I think I'm very proud of them for doing that, and I think that even though there were some flaws with this movie, it was executed very, very, very well. Um, I I I I mean, hands down, I would go back and watch this movie again. Honestly, even with its flaws, I'd go back and watch this movie. Maybe watching it again, I'll understand where the flaws were, and like maybe I'll be able to connect some pieces together. And those flaws will be gone. Who knows? But overall, I give this movie I'll give it a 7.25 out of 10.
Okay.
Um, I don't think it's the best movie in the world. I think Coco is better in my opinion. Um, but nonetheless, I love Coco,
Yeah. What about
and I
Onward? Between this and Onward, which one would you say was better?
oh that's kind of tough,
Yeah.
honestly, because I kind of rate Onward the same.
Okay.
Onward is fantastic too. Onward is a good movie as well.
Here,
Um,
put it this way: do you think Soul like ranks in the higher in sort of the ladder of your Pixar ranking? Like, I'm not gonna have you do a full thing, but like would it be in the top section of the Pixar ranking?
mm, look, man, I'm sorry, but all of Toy Story has that spot.
Toy Story and Finding Nemo aside, though, would it take your?
Yeah, it would be up there,
Okay.
honestly.
Yeah.
Honestly, it would definitely be up there.
Obviously, those are like the givens, like Toy Story, Monsters Inc., and you know what I mean. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I know
I
it's a
mean,
tough question. Yeah.
so I mean, yes, I would rate it that. And I would say that this is. I mean, I think I've kind of admitted to it here, but I definitely suggest watching it.
Okay.
I admitted to it by saying I would definitely go back and watch it.
Yeah.
Um, Again, I think my biggest things are just like some continuity.
Yeah.
Like they mention story plot errors where they mention some things,
They
but they
mention
never
things,
touch
but they're just
base.
like never followed up on again, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
open-ended doors that never close. And
Yeah.
who knows, maybe they're leaving open, for another movie of in the
Possibly.
same universe but different follow-up, I guess.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Well, you know, Pixar is with sequels. I mean, they're just bound to happen if they have successes on their hands. So,
True.
yeah.
I mean, I think this was a success for a movie.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple people complain about this movie. I don't know what exactly it was about because I just kind of scrolled past on like Facebook and stuff like that. I don't know what they complained about
Yeah.
because again, the only complaints I have are like just the open-ended loops that just like you were kind of like, oh, where were we going with this?
Hmm.
And then the open end itself,
Yeah.
like really broad open end.
Yeah.
Those are my only major complaints, and the story has a lot to do with my rating. I'm
Yeah.
going to be honest with you. Outside of that, the story is fantastic. It is a fantastic story outside of the open-ended loops. Um, so yeah, watch it, guys. Honestly, watch it. Let me know. Let me, Dom, and everybody else know what you thought of this movie. I'm sure it's going to be highly received, and I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
I think it has
And
been so far. So,
I
yeah.
think Jamie Foxx played his role very well. I don't know the name of the person who played the other character in this. I think she did very well.
Yeah.
They all did very well.
All right, man. I appreciate that review. That was I can't wait to watch it. This is one of my more
I
anticipated of 2020. So,
I honestly can't wait for you to watch it.
yeah, I'll let you know what I think of it as soon as I do, and that's yeah, I will watch it here very soon, probably over this weekend, to be honest with you, because I got some time off. So, gonna probably check out some movies over the weekend for sure to talk about next week. But yeah, so I do have one more that I was able to see that I want to talk about, and please stall the audience for a second while I look up one piece of information on this real quick.
Not a problem. I can do this all day. So, today while I was at work, guys, I have to build up my confidence here because it's so nice that that some people in the world are so open about things. Because this young lady came into work today and she looked at me and she was like, "I love your eyes," and it just gave me the biggest smile. And I was like, "Thank you so much." All right, back to like some more media form things. Um,
I got
unless
what I
Tom.
needed, so
Okay, cool.
if you're
I
out of
didn't. I did.
ideas,
I was completely out of ideas. I'm so tired,
no, you're fine. So I'm going to talk
but
about
my eyes are very beautiful.
so I'm going to talk about a movie that dropped on Amazon Prime. This is kind of it's a much smaller project. This is from a brand new filmmaker called Darius Martyr. But I went ahead and took the time, checked it out. I saw the trailer, thought it looked pretty cool. It's a 2020 movie for sure. Yeah, guys, this is called Sound of Metal. So if you guys haven't heard of this, this is basically, it's a pretty simplistic story with a lot of complex themes in there. But basically, the simple story is it is about a metal drummer who loses his hearing. And he, yeah, it's obviously
It's almost as bad as the drummer from Def Leppard losing his arm.
right. I mean, it's a great concept for a story to try to watch him recoup. He is also an ex-drug addict, so you got that going for him. And
Oh, fun.
basically, he's kind of, he's a little hesitant to go to a rehabilitation center that's very Christian like. And this is not like one of these faith-based movies, so I want to warn everybody before you think that that's what you're getting into. Definitely not. I mean, this is definitely not something that's like preaching the faith of God on you or anything like that, because I actually think, and this has nothing to do with my religious beliefs, I just think a lot of faith-based movies turn out horrible for some reason. They're typically way too preachy. This is not one of those types of movies. So just so everybody knows, this is a very raw, real type of thing. And again, like Darius Martyr is very new. He's a brand new director. This is the first film he's ever made. Riz Ahmed from movies such as Venom and Rogue One, who I actually typically don't like. I liked him in the Sisters Brothers movie and Nightcrawler, but other than that, I haven't really seen like a lot of great performances from him. But this is one of these career best performances for sure. He 100% nails it, kills it. This also has Olivia Cook in there from things such as Bates Motel or Ready Player One, and she also really does a fantastic job for when she's there. It's not really a gripe. I do wish, kind of like Kate Walsh and Honest Thief, that she was in this film just a little bit more. That's for sure. And I mean, but because she was so strong, and I could have probably, this movie's amazing, man. And then we also have Joe Walsh in there who or not Joe Walsh, I'm sorry, Joe Racy, and he does a phenomenal job in this film as well. He's kind of playing a kind of mentor for this rehabilitation center, and I think that the work he did was quite incredible. One of the things I really, really respected about this film was, again, it played into raw and realness. Like, you feel like these people are, you're kind of looking into a window at their lives. Like, it just plays that real. And then also when you're like, when they kind of, the way they kind of deal with the idea of being deaf. Like, I obviously I've always sympathized with people that are deaf because I couldn't imagine losing my hearing, but I've never, and this is something that speaks volumes about this movie, I have never respected deaf people more than I have after watching this film. And it really gave me a whole new point of view on deaf people. It is very powerful in that way. The ending, kind of like you were saying, Ian, about Soul, is very open ended on this movie, but I think it was executed very perfectly. I don't give numbered reviews, but if I were to give a numbered review on this film in particular, I would probably go right around a 10 out of 10. I think this is the best movie of the year. 100%. I have no complaints about it. I think it is phenomenal. I think everybody should check this out. It will change your perspective on a lot of things in life, in the beauty of life. It has very heavy themes. It is so damn good. It has some wonderful performances. If Riz Ahmed does not get nominated for Best Actor Oscar this year, I'm going to be very upset. Same with Joe Racy in this movie, who did a fantastic job as a Best Supporting Actor. He also needs to be nominated for that. I think that these are two performances that it would be a missed opportunity, and I think obviously it's my favorite film of 2020. I think the movie itself needs to be nominated for Best Picture. I will let you know. I mean, obviously more movies pending, but this
Really
is
that good?
it's fantastic, dude. I think that this is something that just this idea, the fact that they take this concept that's so simple, and the movie plays in a very simplistic way, but also changes your perspective on things, gives you a whole new perspective on the beauty of life. It manages to throw these incredibly heavy themes in there and has me so hooked and so immersed and loving these characters so damn much that I don't want this thing to ever end. You know what I mean? When it ended, I was sad. Like, I understood it was a great place to end, even though it's open ended in a way, but you kind of understand it too. I also like that the sound of metal takes on, and I won't spoil it for anybody, a couple of different meanings in this film, and you'll see it at the very end. And the sound design in this movie is astounding. You are kind of hearing what it's like to be deaf. You know what I mean? At moments in this movie, because like you can, because at first, you know, his hearing is, he's not completely deaf, but he's basically like he can hear
He's
like
going
certain
deaf.
things. And there was something about the sound design to that I found to be astonishing. That is the other thing. The sound design for what it's like, and it makes you feel like you're in his shoes, is amazing, and it keeps your heart beating throughout it, and you're like, man, I could not imagine being in this position. And when you see the way that it deals with the theme of deaf people, and it just it raises my respect for these people tenfold from where I was before. I always had sympathy for deaf people, but I've never
And
respected them so much in my life.
no, I respect deaf people because I know for a fact if I were to ever go deaf, I would not be able to live. I really would not. And
Yeah,
it's just because how heavily music affects me as a person.
and I'm glad you said that, because it's one of the things that I found to be so powerful in this film is that is our main character, Riz Ahmed's character, is he goes through the same struggle. His character Ruben, I actually remember the character's name, because he was so impactful on me, and I loved what Ruben's struggle was. And you know, I like that this movie found ways to put our character up against quite a few difficult decisions in such a simplistic story, and I thought that was fascinating. And I love the chemistry between him and Olivia Cook in the film, and I like that actually both of their characters have decisions to make, and I think that they do a really phenomenal job. The performances are top notch, and I highly recommend this one. This has been my favorite movie of 2020. So
I'll have to get my hands on Amazon Prime.
yeah, if you can, man, I'm telling you, check this out any way you can. 100%. But yeah, guys, listen. So this is the moment we're going to talk about Cobra Kai season 3. We are going to go
Yes.
into in-depth spoilers on this. Um, Ian, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Well, first, obviously, we'll do what we always do. We'll give overall non-spoiler thoughts on it, then we'll go in-depth spoilers. But really quick, Ian, what was your non-spoiler thoughts on
Well,
Cobra
before
Kai
we get
season
into
3?
that, if you have a problem with spoilers, you're a pussy. I'm just kidding. I sorry, I had to get in that character. Uh, overall thoughts, man. This so like season two, I wasn't as huge on as I was for season one. I thought season two was good, definitely, but I thought season two was. I have to go into this to explain my feelings for season three. I thought season two was kind of subpar. It made it more feel like like just teen drama y. It was almost like watching
Hmm.
Riverdale all over again, and I hate Riverdale. It was almost like that for me, but it still didn't ruin the show for me. I thought, I was like, you know what, this is build up, this is story building, it's okay. And then season three came along, and it
Yeah,
kicked its ass like a cobra.
yeah. Um, I
Uh, it blew both season one and two out of the water for me.
Yeah, just to get the non-spoiler portion out of the way, I'll go ahead and give my non-spoiler thoughts too. Where it's I disagree with you in the sense that I didn't think season 2 necessarily went too teen drama y, but I also felt that it was weaker than one. Right now, if I had to rank these seasons, I would go 3, 1, 2. 3 is my favorite. It blew it out of the water.
Yeah,
I thought it was amazing.
I agree with that
I
ranking.
I love the way that it's taken all of the Karate Kid lore and just kind of put it into this big thing, and it's been so well planned out, and it's got fan service, but it's not fan service just for the sake of fan service. It's fan service that serves a story. You know what I mean? And it does that in a very wonderful way. You can tell the guys that create the show, they just get it. They understand it. I think, God, I cannot talk enough about how well Ralph Macchio and Billy Zabka just get back into these roles, man, and they really still have the chops and they can act very well. I was actually really impressed. I want to throw this out there too. Zolo Maridueña, who plays Miguel, his
Yes.
performance in this season was amazing, man. Like he has stepped up as an actor so much over the course of the 3 seasons, and I wanted to throw that out there. But phenomenal season, my favorite season of Cobra Kai. Let's talk spoilers, Ian. I am going to let you talk spoilers. What were your? Let's get the gripes out of the way. Did you have any gripes with the season?
Um, Gripes.
And I'm gonna smoke since some people have tuned out now. Most likely.
My gripes, man. Sorry, I'm giving people more of a chance to kind of tune out real fast. Gripes. Also, it's kind of helped me think. Honestly, I think my biggest gripe is that my dumbass finished it in one night. That's my only real gripe. Honestly, I don't really have any gripes with this season. I think this season was played out perfectly. It was executed absolutely astonishingly.
Yeah.
I think my only gripe is it wasn't fucking long enough. And that's my fault, but it wasn't fucking long enough.
Yeah.
I needed more.
I don't have a lot of complaints. If I was gonna say one thing, I was upset that I think that there could have been a small place for the character of Stingray to come back. I was a little upset that he wasn't back in it. He was one of my favorites from the second season.
Oh,
Paul Walter
yeah.
Hauser's character, yeah, I thought he was pretty funny and entertaining. I thought maybe you could have found a small place for him.
I'm okay with him being gone.
I liked him. I really enjoyed that character.
Who knows? Maybe he'll be back next season.
I also really enjoy the character of Aisha, but I do understand why the writers couldn't find room for her this season. Like, it made a lot of sense why they had her move away and everything.
Yeah.
Another one of my gripes would just be, again, like you were saying, kind of the length of it. I thought that it could have been longer. Maybe. I mean, it's not too big a gripe though because it was.
It could be a Netflix contract thing where they can only make 10 episodes.
Yeah, and one of the particular scenes that I want to bring up, and it's not necessarily a gripe. Um, really, it's not that big of a gripe, honestly, because I actually kind of like that it's there because I don't know if the intention was for it to be funny or not. But the scene where the kid was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go let the cat in," and like nobody bothered to tell the poor kid that they don't have a cat, and the next thing you know, he's just getting flung through the window. I actually found that to be funny. Like, I don't know if it was meant to be.
The moment he said that, I was like, they don't have a fucking cat there.
I was kind of hokey, and there's like a couple hokey things in the season. Maybe that's one of my bigger gripes, but that one was one of the hokey things that made me laugh, and I don't know if it was supposed to.
I think no, it was definitely supposed to make you laugh. I think where that stems from is 80s style humor, and I think that's okay.
Yeah,
because
maybe.
it's an 80s. It's supposed to be based off of an 80s movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, and obviously because it's based on the 80s stuff, like, I've accepted that these kids are way too advanced in karate, and I'm okay with that. Like, I've accepted that 100%. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay with me because of the way the show tones it and it places it perfectly. And the one thing I was like so worried about in this show was like, oh man, are they going to be able to top that brawl that happened in the school at the end of season 2? Because that was like one of the most epic things and very well done karate things we'd seen in the show. And they did. That house fight, dude, is the most epic thing I've ever seen in this show.
That house fight gave me anxiety.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm watching this and I'm just like, oh no, not the vase. Oh, not the glass. No, stop.
Yeah, man, I agree. It was crazy, and
I'm watching this and I'm just imagining if this happened at my dad's house and what his reaction would be. I wouldn't have a dad anymore. He'd be in the dirt.
Yeah,
he'd have a fucking heart attack.
Thank God, Daniel just made that deal with the dealership, man. Because that was
Doyona.
Yeah, because they otherwise they wouldn't have had money, to pay for all that shit that got damaged. Let me tell you about one of the more epic. I mean, one of my favorite aspects of the season was Miguel's journey throughout it. my God, was he good in this season, man. He
Oh
was
yeah,
so damn good. I mean, like, and
I
like,
loved his character progression.
he's my favorite of the new characters, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, he really brings it for me.
I'm sorry, but I just love the fact of how many times that um Johnny was kind of a failure at helping him learn to walk, but like not at the same time.
Yeah, like the first time he fell, I actually laughed. He was like, "Oh
I
shit, you fell like a champ."
yeah.
Oh my God, Zabka brought the comedy this season, man. He was so funny in this.
Look, man, I don't know what Zabka does, but like they need like I don't think I've seen him in anything other than Karate Kid.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't think he was really that big in the '80s, like other than Karate Kid, and like, and maybe Mark's probably gonna send me a text after this and correct me and be like, "No, no, here is Zapka's resume. I'm gonna send it to you right now."
Well,
But
to save Mark, I'm actually looking this up.
okay.
He really wasn't in of course he wasn't. I forgot that he was in How I Met Your Mother. He
Well,
was also
right. Well, that's kind of how all this started, and the writers have admitted that is that whole
really.
"How I Met Your Mother" thing, where they were talking about how, you know, Johnny was really the good guy, because that's where the theories kind of started. Was "How I Met Your Mother," and that's what got the writers thinking about it and launching the show. And yeah, so that's kind of
I love
interesting.
that. I love
Yeah,
that for them. I think neither of them is the good guy.
yeah, I feel that way too. Like they're stuck in a gray area, and um, by golly, dude, is John Kreese one of the best villains on screen, though, dude? And I want to give Martin Kove all the credit in the world. I know some people find his villain to be
Y-
over the top, but I think he is fantastic.
You know what? He is over the top. I'll be honest. But I love that he's over the top because that's that '80s over the top
He's
villain.
John Kreese. What do you expect him
Yes,
to be?
he's an '80s villain.
Yeah.
He's an '80s villain, and he's an '80s villain in modern day. Of course, he's going to be over the top.
And you can tell he has so much fun playing it too, and that's something else that radiates off the screen when you're watching it is like Martin Kove like has so much fun playing the character, right?
His
Like,
voice is just it's too fitting for that role.
yeah.
It's way too fitting.
Yeah, and that was something else we got to mention. This is, I think this was misdirect too. Is like they went into his backstory quite a bit.
That was my favorite. Oh, excuse me. That was my favorite aspect of
It's
the
one
season.
of my favorite aspects for sure, because you're starting to understand a little bit more why he is the way he is for sure. A lot more, actually. I shouldn't say a little bit more. A lot more. By the end of it, you really start to understand why John Kreese is the way he is. But does it make him right? I don't know. That's up to
No,
you.
it
That's
doesn't.
for you to decide. But
No,
I don't
I'm
think
going to say
so.
this right now. No, it does not make him right.
But what it does,
Now,
and this is
am I
what I'll,
happy it is the way it is? Yes.
well, yeah, well, what it does, and this is what happens with the greatest villains in history, is that it makes you understand why he thinks he's right in his mind, and a little bit more, and then you know. But one of the things that I find to be actually absolute misdirect, based on my theory for season 4, is that you know they show he's with two guys in the war, right, and one of them has a ponytail in the beginning, and I'm thinking that's got to
Yes,
be Terry Silver. That's Terry
that was
Silver.
a good fucking misdirect because I thought the same exact
Terry
thing.
Silver, right? And then, but they ended up shooting him, and it's like, oh, that wasn't Terry Silver. I'm a little bummed, but I think the other
And
guy
then they
was.
named
I
no,
think.
it was. So they say Silver a lot to him.
Do they?
I didn't piece it together. Yeah, they didn't say Silver
I
until
didn't
after
catch
he
it
was
at all.
shot.
I didn't catch it at all. So the other
They
guy
didn't.
was Terry Silver. So that is who he called
Yes,
at the end. Okay, I didn't catch that.
yes, that's who he
Okay,
called. He called Terry Silver. I
awesome.
thought Terry Silver died. Um,
No,
uh, they made it seem like he died. So here's my thing about that. So they name drop him right after they kill the other guy. I forget what they call the other guy. Smiley, something like that. I don't know.
yeah, something like that.
But like even his jawline was fitting for the actor of Terry Silver.
Okay,
So
yeah,
I
I can
mean,
see that.
so that's why it was like that was a huge misguide
Yeah,
because of the dude's jawline was fitting, the ponytail was fitting, whole 9 yards.
you
His
know they did
attitude
that
was
on
fitting.
purpose, right? Like,
Oh yeah,
they're like,
definitely.
they
That
wanted to
was
bum you
brilliant.
out, but then like give you hope again. You know what I mean?
Definitely, that was definitely a brilliant ploy. And I was just like, how did they kill off Terry Silver? And then all of a sudden, Silver. I was like, what?
Elizabeth Shue, by the way, also came back as Allie. I want to talk about her
Yes.
too, because by God, was she fantastic, and did they play her perfectly? She came back and she was playing Allie from Karate Kid. Like, as
You
much
know
as
what?
we see her as like the twisted, demented, one of the twisted, demented people in the boys, like she can come right back and play this super sweet Allie, and I felt like she did it
I
naturally.
don't. I didn't watch The Boys. I need to.
Yeah, she's good in it.
Um, One thing that I love about all these actors is they don't look like they have makeup on. They look like they're just a grown people,
Mm-hmm.
and love that because we see too many times where people have so much makeup on and you can't tell that what their age is. But like you can tell that Ali's age, you can tell that Ralph Macchio's age, you can tell that Zabka's age. I love that aspect.
Yeah,
And a lot of people say they didn't age well, but I think they aged fantastically.
yeah,
I think that they all look great for their age, and I think that because they you can tell they haven't used any cosmetics except for maybe Ali, because her
yeah.
lips look a little bit. Maybe I'm remembering wrong, but her lips look a little bit like they've had a slight injection. But other than that, I mean,
How are we feeling about Johnny and Miguel's mom as a couple? You like it?
yeah.
I don't find their chemistry to be all that great. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like it was almost like one of these things where like it was in the first two seasons, and it was like okay,
Oh no,
I see where they're going, and then once they got together, I didn't find it to be all that appealing. I was like, that's
I
interesting.
think I think that it's they didn't build up enough on it this season. I
Maybe,
think that there was different story to tell. I think that
yeah,
they'll build up more on it within next season,
yeah,
maybe if we're lucky. But I feel like it's more or less like, hey, he's here. This is his arc. We're kind of touch base on what we can. But
yeah,
I feel like I feel like they were like, we know that they're gonna hook up. We know that possibly gonna be an actual relationship. Right now it's just they're kind of butt buddies, and that's okay.
yeah.
I think that right now though the chemistry between everybody else needs to be to build up on, because we have so much story now.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
I honestly think that we're going to get two more seasons at the very least.
Oh, 100%. I think so too. I think the writers even said they have the next two planned out. So,
Oh, did
yeah.
they? Okay.
I don't know that Netflix necessarily greenlit the next two, but I think that they said that
No,
they
no,
have the
no.
next two planned. So that's
I
good.
will hold Netflix's CEO hostage.
I think that they plan to go full force on this series because I think they see they have something special. And obviously, the second it got put on Netflix, it became all that much more popular than it was
And
when
let's
back
be
when it was on
honest,
YouTube. So,
Netflix and Sony working together is a fantastic thing.
yeah. I agree,
That's
man.
gonna help. That's gonna help boost Netflix
Yeah.
because of their failure with cuties.
Yeah. Let's not get into that. But,
No, I don't want to get into that.
um,
I hope that Netflix ever does anything like that again.
yeah.
Um, but no, I think that this is the chemistry needs to be built other places, and we have time for them to build their chemistry more.
Yeah.
And I think that we had just enough chemistry to be up to this point, and it be okay.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from though, because it did feel kind of lackluster between them.
Well, especially once you see, and this is my honest opinion, and I don't think we've seen the last of Allie in the series,
Definitely not.
but I think like once you see Johnny and Allie together, that's kind of what I want for Johnny a little bit more. I thought their
Nah.
chemistry worked better. That's just my opinion. I think that their chemistry worked better.
I think that Johnny and Ali's romance, it's done. I think it's gone, and I feel
I
like
disagree.
her. No, hold on. I feel like there's feelings there. I do. I feel like they definitely did a great job of putting that there was feelings there,
Yeah,
and
they
it looked
used
like,
her perfectly. Don't get me wrong. I'm not
oh,
complaining about that either.
hands down.
Yeah.
If anybody argues that, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
but
they used her perfectly in this. Yeah.
Wrong. You're wrong. Absolutely wrong. I need to throw you over a wall.
um, sorry, I
No,
just
you're
want to be a
fine.
voice actor so bad. Um, please hire me to be a voice actor. Anyway, so
You can voice Pablo Hidalgo next year. Sorry.
that's his voice. Um, that's his voice throughout the whole thing. They're gonna ask me to say lines, and I'm gonna say. Anyway, so I feel like they used Ali perfectly. I think the romance is done, and I feel like this. You know how they always say, you need to close doors. I don't think that you need to close doors usually. I think that Once you're gone, you're gone. The door's closed. But I feel like this is the perfect example of, a door being closed and in the right way. And maybe who knows? They'll add some drama and be like, Allie's back again, and Zabka's character is like, "Mm, let me get it. let me dip into the blonde again. Uh,
I think she has this maturity to her to where she's like, she wants what's best for Johnny, so she's like gonna let him go down his path right now. But I also feel like that she's kind of not really over him. I got to be honest. Like I
oh
feel
yeah,
like
no.
yeah.
Again, I feel like this was a perfect way to close the door in a
Mhm.
sense. But you could also tell that there was still emotion between them, and I loved how they built that emotion.
Mhm. Yeah, and
Um,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry. You had
no, no,
more.
it's okay. And I feel like that's going to be a nice dynamic that they might throw in the next season to add some drama.
Yeah. I'm so happy too, by the way, and I've been rooting for this, that Miguel and Sam
Yes.
LaRusso are back together, because that was, I thought, the better couple in terms of chemistry. And like when you really think about I mean, why did they break up in the first place? It was because of Sam, not Miguel. It was never Miguel's fault. So I'm glad he ended up getting what he wanted out of this. Well, really, it was because of Daniel, because she was so frightened about what he would say about her dating somebody from Cobra Kai with all the past beef. But, now
That's Sam.
yeah, and we
I'm
finally,
sorry, at that point, that's Sam.
no, 100%. And it's consistent. I'm not complaining. I just think that, like, I'm so happy that these two are finally back together. And I think that, a lot of people are like, Johnny needs to be there for his son, but right now his son's not letting him be there. And I think it's going to take Miguel to help him get to that point, to where he can get his son back, because I feel like Miguel, or as much as Miguel learns from Johnny, Johnny learns as much from Miguel. And I
Oh,
feel
hands
like
down.
they need to have this journey together to get Johnny to the point to where he can get his son back. Do you know what I mean? Because think about all the things that Miguel has taught
I
him.
think this is the real point of the story: is Johnny getting back with his son.
Yeah, me too.
I really do. I think that that's going to be the end of the story: is Johnny and his son's relationship being connected
Yeah.
again.
And we're going to get more into the final moments, because that's where the real meat is. But
That's where the best part of the series
yes,
is.
but
What we've all been waiting for.
uh,
What the actors themselves have talked about. We've all been waiting for.
yeah, before we get there, though, I mean, let's talk about another one who I think is one of the best villains that they built in the show, who's no longer a villain. Hawk, his whole redemption arc here is so fucking good.
Yeah, I felt like they accepted him too easily. But yes, I agree. It is very good.
Perhaps I can see what you're saying, but like on the same hand, he kind of went in and kicked some ass, dude. Like when he
He
just,
broke the kid's arm, bro. I'm sorry,
oh,
but
that's true.
I don't
No,
know
that's
about you.
true. You're right. He's done a lot, and it's like I don't know how you just easily redeem him. But I like it though, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I think a lot of that is gonna play into next season, is because I think Hawk is still very damaged, and I think it's gonna take Johnny and Daniel to get him out of that brainwashing, and I think that's gonna
See,
play
I
into
was
the,
about to mention
yeah.
that. I was about to mention that, maybe next season we'll see them kind of, push back on him, and then Johnny and God, what is my problem?
Daniel.
Johnny and Daniel, thank you. Johnny and Daniel will finally be able to, mentor this kid into being a better individual.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of Hawk's character is always going to be the bat that he's dealt with being bullied his whole life. Now he's tasted what it feels like to have that power.
Yeah. I gotta be honest with you, I might have to have a Karate Kid marathon over the week and watch them all with Cobra Kai, because the seasons are so short. I could probably cram it all in, but
I think that's what I might do
yeah,
myself.
'cause, like I've fallen in love with this franchise. Let's be honest, at this point, so much that it's just, my excitement is just there right now. And I mean, who'd have thunk that probably the two best shows on TV right now came from like nostalgia things, right? Like
I'm really
Mandalorian and Cobra
curious.
Kai at this point, but
Yes, I'm sorry. I just thought about something. I'm really curious to see if that kid from the third movie comes back, the one that Silver had hired.
yeah, that'd be interesting. I agree with you. I think that'd be cool. I know
I
who
think
exactly you're talking about. Yeah.
I think that third movie is trash in my opinion compared to the other two. It holds its place, but I don't think it's very
I
good.
don't know why it's got to be the '80s cheesiness. I feel like the
It I can tell you exactly why.
I love Terry Silver. But
No, I love no. Terry Silver was the best part about that movie.
He's
for me.
awesome.
I have to agree. Terry Silver was the redeeming factor.
Is
for that
everything
movie.
to your liking, Mr. LaRusso? I love the way he talks. It's just
Very arrogant. I love it. Very, very 80s villain.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
But no, I have to say about the third movie real quick. I'm kind of surprised that they make references to it at all.
I'm not.
Just because I don't think it was well received like the first two were. I
Yeah.
could be wrong. I didn't receive the movie very well myself. I think the story was forced, and I think it's just because they were like, "Hey, we're making money. Let's keep making movies," and they didn't know what to do with the story. But Terry Silver was a phenomenal addition to the story.
Yeah.
Outside of that, third movie, you could just throw it away from me.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I mean, like, it doesn't surprise me at all because when you listen to the writers talk, they said like when everybody else had the Star Wars trilogy, we were into the Karate Kid trilogy. You know, because that was their Star Wars, and they always knew since they were kids that this had potential. Moving forward, you know what I mean? That this always was a story that could be ever expanding and a lore that you can expand on. It's so weird to say it that way, but it's so true. There is so much like lore in there that they pull from, and I think that that's great. Whether it comes from the philosophies that Mr. Miyagi bestowed upon Daniel, right, or whatever it might be. I mean, it's just like, and that was another thing I want to bring up is that the whole, the way that they've really brought Miyagi's spirit into the show, even though that they don't have Miyagi himself, and this season they've done that tenfold.
So, real quick, we talked about Kreese being a villain, but not really a villain, but he's a villain. And like, no, I know, but like, why he thinks he's right.
Oh, right.
And I
right.
just thought about this. He even says it himself. There's no good, there's no bad, there's only you.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And I feel like that really fits his character now that we're talking about this. It just came to mind.
Yeah.
And I think that's really fitting because of what you said.
That's one of the things, though. It's like when you're watching his backstory and then it's intercut with these things that he's telling these kids, it's like he makes fantastic points. You know what I mean? And that's what makes him such a great villain is like he's wrong. This is not something you should be. This is not a good thing to teach kids. Morally, it's wrong, but he makes good points, too.
Yeah, he's wrong, but he's right. And that's the sad thing.
Yeah. He's right because of what he went through. Yeah.
Yes, because we see what he's gone through. So this is what he's learned. He's learned betrayal, survival, whole 9 yards.
Yeah, and he just doesn't understand that not all these kids are having these same experiences. You know what I mean? Like he grew up a particular way. Things happened to him, and yes, those types of morals that or what he thinks are morals did apply to his past life, but they're not going to apply to all these kids.
I think what he's doing is I think this is something that we do a lot. We project ourselves onto other people, and he's probably projected himself onto other people. Like, I don't want you to go through this, but at the same time, I'm kind of a fucking asshole now, so I'm gonna kind of treat you like I'm the big bad asshole. But I'm also wanting to teach you to be the strongest person you can be. He just doesn't know that the way he's doing it is skewed,
right?
Demented. It's messed up.
Okay, I'll tell you a funny story real quick. Having to do with this, because like when I read the news, I swear to God, this is how much I fucking love this show. But when I read the news that Cobra Kai season 3 was being pushed to January 1st, like we were getting it even earlier, I was in a public place and I wanted to stand up and go Cobra Kai, Cobra Kai, Cobra Kai, and I just had to stop myself from doing that. But I had this impulse to do it. But anyway,
I'm not gonna lie. If I were you, I would have stood up and screeched, Cobra Kai season 3 January.
Oh my God. I wanted to yell it at the top of my lungs, man. I really did. But one of the other things, there's so much to get into, but I wanted to talk about, I wanted to get back into Hawk too, because like, not Hawk, I'm sorry, Tori, we didn't talk about yet.
Let me tell you, we can definitely talk about Tori.
Tori's obviously very attractive, but
the actress is very attractive, yes.
But I mean, one of the things this show does so well is much like Kreese, it gives you well, I think with her more so it gives you sympathy. You know what I mean? She's taking care of a sick mother, and yeah, I mean it's like you really start to understand where she's coming from a lot more, and I think that the way that they had her join Kreese was perfection as well. The way that they've kind of planted that throughout it. And
Real
yeah,
quick,
yeah.
Peyton List, I know you're of drinking age. Please hit me up. And then if you actually know karate, beat my ass.
Oh man. All right, so let's talk about this too. Okinawa. I want to talk about the Okinawa trip because I thought that was awesome that they brought in something from season 2. You could say that some things here were plot convenience, but I actually think it made a lot of sense to a lot of the central themes that they're wanting to bring in here of balance and all that kind of stuff. And that was the whole thing is like Daniel had to get himself centered, and I think that made a lot of sense because when he went to he initially went to Japan, but the guy in Japan had sensed that he had another purpose there, and he said,
I lied. I'm stupid and I'm tired, so I didn't even think about the Okinawa. I completely forgot about it. I don't know why. This is the best dynamic of the whole show.
You think so? I really
Yes,
enjoyed it.
hands down. It actually made me tear up.
Oh,
Let's
wow.
continue.
No, I was gonna say because the way they played Chosen in it, and like when he came back, and that was amazing, dude. Like
I loved it. I loved that tension and Chosen being so stern and like intimidating for no goddamn reason.
Yeah, I mean they're fighting and it's really cool, and then you just kind of find out he's just fucking with them the whole time, right? Like he's just like
he's like, I've been waiting for this for a long time.
Yeah,
his little revenge is the ultimate revenge.
Yeah,
it's without hatred.
I just liked how it was played. It was just like, all right, you know what? That stuff in the past, no big deal. I was just fucking with you. I just wanted to.
I love his character progression.
Yeah, but it was all important for Daniel's progression, right?
Yes.
Obviously, it came full circle at the end. But we'll get into that too.
That's not the part. Okay, so we're about to get to the part that made me tear up.
Miyagi's letter, right?
That one didn't make me tear up as much, but it did. What made me tear up so much was the little girl he saved.
Yes, that was amazing. That was so cool.
I don't know why it did, but
it makes sense because like it was they pull these little things that you don't think about, and they just pull them in, and they're like, yeah, I wanted it to be plot convenience a little bit, but on the same
I completely
hand,
forgot about her
story. Yeah.
They did a great job of like making you completely forget about her because you're sitting there, you're just like, I think we just touched based on everything, and all of a sudden she comes in, she's like, hey, you remember me? And he's like, no. And I'm like, I don't remember her. Who the fuck's this bitch?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why I think it makes a lot of sense too, is because when you think about the whole theme of Karate Kid 2 was, Miyagi brought Daniel with him because he wanted him to fulfill a purpose, and I think that he did, and it ended up helping Daniel later in life, meaning that it's bringing it full circle for Miyagi's teachings to Daniel too, because it's like everything that Miyagi, I know it gives you chills, right? It's like, because everything Miyagi did for Daniel was, he didn't just set him up in the moments, he set him up for his future, you know what I mean? And everything was just so meticulously planned, and knowing who Miyagi is and having that respect for him, and knowing the way that Miyagi was always so calculated the way he was, it just makes a lot of sense. But like, I mean, it's bone chilling because it's like Daniel is the son that Miyagi never had, and he said it in the letter, and that made me cry when he said family. I feel like his family. Yeah.
Stop it.
Sorry,
tears about to start coming again.
I get that.
Look, absolute bravo to the writers of this show. Absolute bravo to them bringing it forward and them helping bring this show back to its precipice. Maybe I used that word wrong, who knows, but their peak. Bravo. Absolute bravo to Tori or Peyton List. Please beat me up.
I want to say, if like this and Mandalorian were considered movies, obviously I would put these over like Sound of Metal, you know what I mean, or I would rank these over for
I'm sorry, these
movies, but
I would rank these over every movie.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry. Like they're so good. They've done such a good job. But I want to get into this ending though with Johnny and Kreese and Daniel and Robbie. I mean, this is some of the most. This is action with a lot of drama and tension behind it, and I think that's what makes it so good. I mean, when Johnny and this fight is intense. When Johnny and like, because we get like the over the top stuff with the kids, I feel like, but like when you see like something like with like Johnny and Kreese, it's so dramatic that they know how to kind of pull it back and bring it to a grounded place.
Look, we got to talk about one more thing.
Yeah.
Before we touch the ending, I'm sorry. Things keep sparking back in my mind.
No, it's cool. I want to talk about it. So yeah.
The van chase scene was hilarious.
Yeah, man, that was so funny. I agree with you.
And then them fighting together, you see them work together, the chemistry, amazing.
Oh yeah,
And then,
yeah.
oh my god.
Oh, one of my favorite parts is it was right around there is when he was eating. I think it was corn nuts or something like that, and Daniel was worried about him getting it in the upholstery, and then he's like, "Don't worry about it." He hits a bump or something, they all go flying. Or when he was talking to the wife on the phone was the other thing too. And Daniel's like, "You had to mention the prison," or whatever it was. It was just like, yeah, that stuff was funny.
Okay, when the show first started, whenever I first started the episode, I'm sitting here watching it, and they're talking about the big fight and all this, and then it shows Moon and everybody in the front yard playing guitar. I lost it.
Oh yeah,
it made me laugh so hard.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Let's all be some friends and get some brunch. I'm just like, why?
Yeah, that was so funny. I agree, man. I really enjoyed those moments as well. Those little subtle sort of humorous moments, but they make so much sense to be there. But
oh, definitely.
I'll be honest, like it made sense, but I do want to say it's not really a gripe. It made sense, but I do think that the side story that was lacking the most was the story about Daniel and his dealership. Even though it came full circle in a great way, I just found that to be one of the more lacking side quests, I guess, that we kind of had in a way. But the way it transitioned into something else, I found it to be very cool.
I think it lacked in the right ways.
Yeah, probably.
Personally, I think that there was a good reason it lacked.
Yeah.
I don't think we needed too much with it.
If I had another minor gripe, I don't know, maybe could have made that a little better. But anyway, I digress on that because it's that minor that it's like not a big deal. Because they built it enough to where it's like you still kind of care about his business life and stuff. It's just one of the more boring things that they did in the season. But I digress because it came full circle in a cool way. We've talked about it. It brought him to Okinawa, and it was like, oh well, then that works out. I don't know. Maybe they could have done something else to evolve into it, but it's fine. But
go on.
No, the final fight. If you're ready for it. I mean...
The moment we've all been absolutely waiting for.
Johnny and Kreese, oh my god, was this everything... I mean, I wanted it to be in a way, but it was so much more tension-filled than I thought it would be in a great way. And it was so much more dramatic than I thought it would be. Like, I almost felt like bad because, like, this is a man Johnny used to respect. You know what I mean? Back in his childhood.
Oh, yeah. So here's my thing. I love that he walked in, confronted him. He sees Robbie, and he's like, this fucking man, this lunatic is with my son.
Yeah.
And you can tell that the gears are finally moving, and you can tell that control, that all that sense of self-control is being lost, and you can just read it in his face so well. It's such a plain face of just pure regret and anger.
And this moment is all the anger he has toward Kreese since the beginning of the franchise, you know what I mean? Yeah,
the beginning of the franchise.
Right, and that's what I find to be so incredible about it, is like, this has been building up in Johnny for years, man. I mean...
And for him to finally lash out against it took his son, and you can tell that his character really cares for his son at this moment, because he's like, I got to get my son away from this man. He's like, I'm gonna do everything in my power to get him away from this fucking man.
Yeah,
whatever it takes.
And I mean, I'm sure. I would imagine there's going to be a redemption arc for Robbie eventually. But like right now, Robbie's gone, man. I mean, he really is. He's completely gone, and he went and fought his own father on this, and like the fight is not necessarily. What would you say? Like, it's not a light fight. It's a very brutal fight. I mean, this is insane stuff. And obviously Johnny's not going to fight back, but Robbie is so, great at karate that...
Hellbent.
Yeah, and it's just like, at this point, it's like, what do you do? And, they made a deal, but, like, it almost makes me wonder how much good is it going to do, because... When Daniel comes up, which was awesome. I loved when Daniel came in. Daniel's entrance
before we get
incredible.
This far into it.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. But I love the fact that, like, you can tell that Johnny has no sense of self-control at this point. He's just fighting. He's kind of like a husk at this moment.
Oh yeah.
And just like when he grabs the fucking the sai, and Robbie's like, no. You can just tell, like, he kind of snaps back to reality for a second, and he looks over at his son and he drops the sai. He's like, Good point. Yeah, I won't do
Yeah.
that in front of you. I'll just
Yeah.
beat the shit out of it in front of you.
Exactly. Yeah. Man.
I loved how they integrated up until Daniel came in. I love how they integrated the fight scene along with Crease's scenes.
Yeah.
I love
I
how
I,
that
I do
they
too.
great filmography.
Yeah. I mean, when Daniel's entrance comes in, I mean, this is why it was so important for Allie to come in to make these two realize that they really do relate to one another, and they're
Yes.
really feuding over something that started with her. You know what I mean? And so you need to have her back into it to make them realize that this all started with Allie. It really did, and you need to have her back to make them realize that they need to team up, and this needs to finally happen. This needs to end once and for all. I mean, and it's immature, and they did finally settle their differences through the art of karate, which I also think is very poetic. And they did this, together. And I thought, again, like we were saying, the fight was incredibly brutal. And it was, but it was amazing. I mean,
It was raw. It
it
was
was
absolutely raw.
real feeling, and I think Zapka and Machio brought it. Do you know Ralph Macchio is 60 years old? I'm like, holy shit! And this
Is
guy-
he really?
Yeah, yeah.
There's no way. I thought he was like 50. I thought he was as old as my dad. He's 60.
I thought he was like 48. Yeah, no, he's like 60 at least, but he's really close. But
59.
50,
59, but still.
yeah, like that's crazy, and he's really obviously kept in shape enough to do this stuff, because a lot of this stuff, again, this is one of the things I commend, is like the karate might be over the top, but it's all shot in camera and it's done really well.
This is something I did not know. I thought William Zabka was older. He's 4 years younger than Ralph Macchio.
Yeah, yeah, he looks like he's older. Yeah, man, but they brought it, dude, and they made this deal with Kreese. I don't know how much difference it's gonna make, because I think that even if Kreese might hold his word, he might leave town, but he's gonna call Terry Silver's
Terry.
coming in to take.
He already
over
called
Cobra
Terry.
Kai. Right. My point is, he's probably gonna tell him, "Hey, I might leave, but you're sticking around. You're gonna train these kids and finish. You're gonna do my bidding for me."
Time for Karate Kid 3 reboot.
Oh yeah. I mean, kind of and kind of not. We'll see what happens. I just think that it's gonna get real complicated real fast. I didn't really mention it in detail. Just the couple of action scenes. I mean, we kind of talked about Hawk a little bit. I mean, in this season, one of the brutal things he did is when he bashed in that kid's face. I mean, that was
Yes.
crazier than hell.
I loved that. I'm not
me
gonna lie to
too.
you. I hate like fighting. I hate shit like that. But whenever it came down to that one, I was like, you can tell he's just pent up.
No, I
this
genuinely
rage
love
for so
to
long.
hate Hawk. You know what I mean, in this show. But I'm glad he got his redemption. But like on the same hand, I love to hate this character. But like when he went after the two kids too, that whole move he did was just so badass, man. It was so cool. He's badass. Like he's a villain, and now he's not. But you know what I mean. But he's bad. He's got this badassery to him too.
Anti-hero.
Yeah, and you can't deny that. And then Miguel, dude, when Miguel finally got it back, and the way they intercut it with everything Johnny was telling him in the beginning when he was trying to wake him from the coma, I was like, dude, this is amazing stuff. And just, yeah, man. I mean, Sam and Tori's fight was pretty epic as well, dude. I mean, it was better than the one in the last season, I thought. I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
I
man.
feel like they did that on purpose.
Well, I mean, that's somebody we haven't really dove into either, is Sam's panic attack storyline, which I thought was done incredibly well. Might be one of the more overlooked journeys in the season, because it's not as
It's short.
yeah, it's not as to the forefront, but it's actually really important to bring everything to the forefront, because it's a lot of the reason that it's part of the reason Robbie got pushed away. Is Sam's whole arc here, and the reason Robbie went down the path he did is because Sam pushed him away. She's like, she chose Miguel in the love triangle, or whatever you want to call it. She chose Miguel, and I think that that's fitting, and it's probably less toxic for her. I think Robbie's got a lot of damage he needs to go through and sort out before he can be in a relationship, and I think that's very clear to see in this season. Because even he snapped a couple times here, Robbie, and
Yeah.
and now he is going to be one of the villains, so to speak, in the story now, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see moving forward.
As much as I would hate it, I would love it for Robbie to become the big bad after Kreese is gone.
We'll see. It'll be interesting, man. I don't know how this will all work. Again, man, it kind of makes sense what they've done with this
He's the new
journey.
Ben.
It makes sense what they've done with this journey so far, man, and I really am interested to see it. I think that this is gonna weigh heavily on Johnny, but I think Miguel's gonna get him through it, and I think I think that there's gonna be a lot of. I think Hawk's thing is gonna be huge next season too. I think that's gonna be a big deal. I think they're gonna have to undo a lot of damage with him.
We have to talk about the final scene here, man. The final scene.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh my God. Ralph Macchio standing there with the students, and they're all talking they're mentally talking. I don't remember if they were talking, but mentally talking to one another. You can tell it's just like, yeah. And then you see Miguel coming around the corner, and then you see you see Johnny come, and then they're both standing right next to each other.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the color coordination too. Johnny's in all black. For the most part, Ralph Macchio is in all black, but he has like lighter colors on. It's kind of like light and dark coming together type vibe, shit like that. I just love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And I love the bow at the very end.
Yeah, it's like, here we go. I mean, this is what I think we've all kind of wanted. I mean, since the first moment we saw.
And then
these
I got
two have
pissed
chemistry.
off.
Why?
Because I fucking binged that show in one night.
Yeah, man. It's like, once that episode ends and you're just like, oh, there's no more. But this is something I can honestly watch again over and over again probably this season because
I'm not going to lie. Good. I'm not gonna lie. As soon as it ended, I wanted to scream, but it was like 5:30 in the morning, and I live with my parents, and they both work.
Yeah, man. I mean, I thought it was just, I thought it was wonderful, dude. That ending, and yeah, man, it's interesting, and like, it just like, I don't know, like Johnny looked content at the end. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, so did Ralph.
Yeah, they looked content working together, and they were like, okay, this was like meant to be, and both of them are going to carry the Miyagi way forward, and I think that's really important, and I can't wait for Daniel to teach Johnny more about Mr. Miyagi, because Johnny's perspective of Miyagi was very different than Daniel's, obviously.
I can't wait for them to teach each other more about themselves.
That's true. Yeah, like, I mean, just in terms of techniques and things like that, I mean, they've obviously come into this world in different ways, and it's going to be cool.
It's funny because after binging season 1 and 2, I watched some interviews, and they were talking about, William Zabka and Ralph Macchio were talking about how they felt about these characters. They were like, we know you guys want this because we want it too. You just want them to sit down in a room together and talk to each other and figure out they're the same fucking person and that they would get along, but they won't, and it pisses you off. They both have said that too, and it's funny.
Yeah,
I love that they know that that's the tension, even going back and watching their own show.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love that they're just kind of fans of this stuff too. You know what I mean? Or they just really enjoy playing these characters, and that they don't take their opportunity to do this for granted at all. I don't feel when I see them in person. I think that's
absolutely.
Even Martin Cove in real life, you could tell he it radiates, man. I think with all the actors, and part of what makes this work so well is
they love it.
You could talk crap about the low budget, but again, it's really well done, and these guys they really get it, and every actor has fun. I think every actor is
legitimately fun. The only time you see it being low budget is the moment that Miguel is falling from the second floor. That's the only time you see that it's low budget.
I mean, it wasn't even necessarily that. They know how to film it very well, but it's got, compared to like what you would see in a movie, you could tell the budget's lower. But that said, I think that the budget was higher this season. You can definitely tell they had more money this time.
Sony backed it.
Yeah, you could tell it was much better this season. But guys, we've been going for a couple hours here. We almost gave you 2 podcasts in one. Hopefully that makes up for not doing it as often. But thank you for joining. This has been a lot of fun. I especially enjoyed the Cobra Kai portion of the show.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, that was something that I've been waiting to do, is talk about it with everybody and let us know what you thought of it. I've heard a couple people were disappointed with the season. Overall, I think it's getting pretty well received, so I'm very happy about that. But yeah, guys, let me know what you thought of this in the comment section below. Thank you for joining today. Ian, where can the people find you?
Absolutely. And Dom, they can find me at Instagram. Oh, not well, yeah, they can do
They
Instagram.
can do Instagram.
Find me on Instagram, and I don't remember if I've leaked so far. Instagram, YouTube at jewtacularian, and Peyton List. You can find me there as well.
All right.
Please hit me up about beating me up.
All right, guys, and I'll be leaving that in the social media or in the description below, and I'll also be leaving my social media, Twitter and Instagram, in the description below as well. Again, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comment section, and share this with your friends if you haven't done so already, because it's always much appreciated. And finally, guys, thank you for joining, and we'll be back hopefully very soon. We haven't really talked about the next one yet, but we're gonna try to get back on track. And guys, we'll still do those Rebels season 3 and 4 reviews at some point here. I promise we'll get around to those as everything's
That's
been
my
hectic.
fault. I'm
It's
sorry.
all right. Hey, man, probably my fault too, honestly. We haven't really followed up on that. But, guys, we'll get back together soon. We'll do this again very soon. But thank you for joining in the meantime. And, hey, have a good night, everybody. And stay safe out there. I know it's a dark time, but hopefully this helped you find some light in these dark times. And so thank you for joining, guys, and I appreciate it. Yeah.
Real quick, last mention here, since
Sure.
we're talking about dark times, I want you all to know that no matter what your view is on anything, religion, politics, where you feel like you stand in the wealth meter, I love you all. No matter what. Be safe.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
No problem.